It's the most wonderful time of the year, the ESA Cup Season 9 Grand Finals. Two teams have climbed to the top, and now they're here to unwrap the ultimate gift, the championship title. As the year winds down, two teams are gearing up. But tonight, the season of giving is all about taking the opportunity to dominate the competition. Settle in, grab some cocoa, and let's begin this final countdown. I'm joined on the desk today by Mighty and Mr. Run, our resident analysts and full of festive spirit. What's happening?
I can just say it's a blast to be here. It's so close to Christmas Eve, and there's like no better time to give a big present to these two teams than this big pot of a prize pool. And this match will deliver some highs and maybe some lows, but it will definitely be filled with a lot of tension and a lot of good gameplay, I hope.
One of these two teams is going to have, for sure, a great Christmas because we've got $2,000 prize pool here for the ESA Season 9 and 1,300 of those euros going to the first place team, 450 going to the second, and LDL, our third place team, already claimed their prize of 250. So a lot still on the table between these two teams, though, for the game today.
That's right. Who will join the nice list? Who will be dubbed onto the naughty? It is going to be is somebody stealing away the victory like Grinch? We are going to find out together. Mr. Run, let's get a quick rundown, a story of how we've gotten this far.
Yeah, that's right. The Molotov Gang taking on Silent Family in the unlimited overtime for the ESA Season 9 Grand Final. And both of these team stories obviously started way back in the qualifiers, but for completely different reasons. Silent Family, then PIB, had an incredible run through the qualifiers, claiming first place with an impressive 8-1 scoreline. They only lost one game in regulation with a 36 round differential. On the other side, though, MVG Molotov Gang were there for the wrong reasons. They didn't even qualify after going 3-1-5, five solid losses, and a negative 16 round differential. But luckily for them, they were able to catch one of those qualifier spaces after a team unfortunately had to drop out. And since then, they have been nearly unstoppable. So, on a hot streak, 3-2 in Swiss, and they have not lost a Liquipedia notable match since November. They did lose to LDL early on, but they didn't have to play them in the ESA playoffs. So that 3-2 in Swiss was it. They absolutely ran the playoff match there, which has been fantastic for them. This is a team that is put on a show here since the end of Swiss. And Silent Family on the other side, 3-1 in Swiss, lost in the upper bracket final to the Molotov Gang. That's right. This is a rematch between these two teams.
Okay, so a little bit of a David versus Goliath potential scenario, or maybe a Cinderella story run. Either way, it's going to shape up to be a good one. A little bit more familiar, Mighty, with the rosters that we've got going on for these teams. Why don't you give us a little bit of background?
Okay, to these teams, they are both very quite known in the community, one more a little bit than the other. If we just take a look at Molotov at first, MolotovGang is a German esports team that has been actively involved themselves in this console, I would say, branch on Siege since November of 2022. So they've been around for a while. MVG has based a lot of well-known players and their rosters throughout the time that they have been around, like a Shishi and also the one Pistol guy, known on Twitch, very good and very huge streamers in the German branch. So they have definitely been a team that is swapping out a lot of players, giving multiple players the chance of evolving themselves and forging these players. So, by the way, Molotov is known for frequently swapping out players and meeting their results craved by the founders and also the leaders of that organization. The way that they have been had huge talents in their rosters means as well that they're a huge forge that I meant for the German community. And the majority of the players that they had are definitely involved themselves and have gone past MVG storyline and join other teams and maybe try to get themselves well known as of their name after the MVG era. But let's kick a little bit back on the organization itself. MVG's goals were met with precision at the basic summer breach land in Dortmund this summer. And they also finally managed to beat their top rivals in the German branch of Entropy Gaming to claim themselves the Basic Champions title. With winning that title, they backed Entropy twice within 8 days, claiming their second major title of 2024. And they're not finished because they're beating for the third one this year. If we look a little bit into SilentFamily, though, SilentFamily, former PIB, called in the qualifiers, is a fairly new team put together out of very well-known veterans out of the Italian branch. These guys are well-known in the community for their mindset, both skills, and also very well-known for their alternating strats and also good game mechanical skills. As mentioned earlier, SilentFamily themselves in front of the audience, proved themselves in front of the audience in the qualifiers as PIB and struck first place. But only one loss in regular and one loss in OT back in Q1. After Q1, they were undefeated, and that's definitely speaking for itself. After they made their run, when they won every single match in the quals, had 12 well-fought maps, and definitely deserved that first place in the qualifiers. SilentFamily had an amazing run throughout the tournament until their match against MVG in the upper bracket final, where they unfortunately had to take a loss. That's where they had MVG on their peak performance and had to drop in lower. After the match, the doubts raised in both the communities and also in the staff here at ESA, because it was a very, I would say, a low game from SilentFamily, as it couldn't show up for themselves and show what they potentially can bring onto the table. But when we always have that potential of saying, okay, the doubts rise, we're definitely trying to prove them wrong. And what did SilentFamily do? They proved them promptly wrong with a 2-0 against LDL on Monday this week. Not only did they beat the most favorited team for the title of this Season 9 with LDL, but they did it without going to unlimited overtime once they completely won out the map of LDL, turning around and showing that they can show for themselves and they're a team to be taken very seriously in that moment. So they definitely got themselves the "we are back" moment.
Okay, so a couple of storied organizations, a couple of storied teams, some players that you know that are going to be coming to really show up and show out. Whiskey Run. So if we're talking about these two teams and this completely epic background that got us here, what are some of those strengths and weaknesses that are going to kind of bring these two teams through it? Right? Are we looking at some crazy aggression? Is it going to be this tale of strategic protect the president play? Lay it on me. How's this going to play out?
Yeah, if we had to summarize sort of where Mighty was going here, strength and weaknesses between these teams, I think you'd come down to Hasi. He's been a huge impact player in the last couple weeks, and MVG very structured and coordinated gameplay. They have got strats basically for every map. They're very heavily utility based meta kind of a team. They're very strong individually as well, so anyone is capable of clutching. On the con side, though, just in case, we gotta watch out for them. They can struggle with mentality. They can have mistakes just cause that team to break down, not in a rage kind of way, but in a self-doubt kind of way. So we're gonna have to watch that as we go through the maps that are stronger for SilentFamily. MVG's gotta hold themselves together. Now, on the other side, SilentFamily, some straight gunners in this game, very mechanically gifted. We've got some guys that are going to be taking some great shots, and that they can punish teams that overpeak, but that makes themselves vulnerable as well for some of this utility meta that MVG is bringing. On the weakness side, the shield meta. They have said that they hate the shields. They don't like playing them. They don't like using them. And if MVG recognizes that weakness early, that could be a really strong push there for the MVG team.
Okay, real quick, Mighty, walk me through some of these maps. What should we be looking for today?
Okay, I would say when we look into these teams, they're definitely more proven in the big scale maps. That's the maps that they like to play the most, and that's where they have the most matches. So if we just take a quick look on MVG, their most favorite map is Cafe with their highest win rate on that map. The worst map of their stake is Border, mid scale down, quite understandable. And they're frequently playing 4 maps. They're playing Cafe frequently, Consulate, that's are the 2 biggest maps. They're also playing Skyscraper and Clubhouse quite frequently. And that is, in fact, their best scale of map, as they win 65% of these map picks. On big scale, this is 62%. So there is a small spread, but is quite well. So MVG is a perfect team to play both small maps and standards, meanwhile also winning out these big scale maps. In the stake of SilentFamily, their favorite map is Consulate, so I will definitely see that we both shall see Consulate and Cafe today. Cafe quite frequently speaks for itself that we shall see these maps tonight. Skyscraper and Clubhouse also played quite frequently. So I would say these are the maps that we should look into. Maybe we shall see as we have the map up and going.
All right, Run, walk us through the map bands here real quick as we're about to get started, as you can start to see that transformation start to take place.
Yeah, that's right. Both Mighty and I went through and looked at where we thought this map would go, and very, very close. We knew straight off the bat, SilentFamily going to ban layer, and Mighty talked about how um, uh, MolotovGang does not like border. Those are the first two clear bans. Then we come into the ones that we know the teams love. Clubhouse and Chalet. To me, the interesting one, SilentFamily banning Skyscraper, Molotov banning Nighthaven. Those a little bit of interesting ones, but Clubhouse and Consulate were the two maps that we were 100% sure were going to be played today. Both of those teams have played them over and over and over. This is definitely the map that they love, and it is just about time, my friend.
That's right. So we get ourselves a quick social prediction. What did the staff think? And then we're going to send it to the casters for the game. Mighty, walk us through this last bit before we get us on.
So social predictions have been an 80 to 20%. Definitely speaking for MolotovGang as they are the top favorites. Alongside, if we look at the prediction that the staff members have done, it's definitely speaking and screaming for MVG as they have been a major team. They have completely started from the very low and fought their way all the way back into final in a fair and square method. So I would say from the scenarios of the predictions, MVG should take this map. But it's all in the stakes of SilentFamily themselves. If they show up for themselves like they did against LDL, they will have a square chance. And we also always talk about a good underdog story. So maybe we shall have one in this grand final. And let's see if they are able to steal the favorites crown for season 9.
Okay, I couldn't have said it any better myself. The time is upon us. The choirs are singing. Battle is here. It's time to send it to the veteran voices who are going to give us the who, what, when, where, and why of what is going on. Thank you, guys, analysts. We'll be back with you after the map.
A beautiful introduction from our analysts and hosts as their outfits, backgrounds, everything really brings out the jolly holly spirit of Christmas approaching shortly. But in the meanwhile, we have the final match of ESA Season 9 and Delta. Are we ready?
Yeah, we are. We are ready. It's going to be a hell of a map. It really is. I'm so incredibly excited. I've watched both of these teams, at the business end of the league, and it's both teams they've gone through a bit of a journey, haven't they? We've seen SilentFamily fall obviously to MVG in that upper bracket final. We saw them suffer the ignominy of going down to that lower bracket, but then we saw them pull it back. We saw them come back against LDL, the number 1 seed in the league, the team that everyone thought was going to go and win it all. And we saw them absolutely nail them, take 8-9 rounds uncontested in a row. So, they've got the chops for it. And both teams, they've absolutely earned their place in this final, Bob.
They definitely have. I mean, there's a reason we're here in the grand finals. And like you said it, both teams going from the very start to the very end. We're going to have to see who really is the best of the best in this season. And it has really been a journey. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of matches, a lot of even an unlimited overtime that went to 18, 17 rounds. That was a blast. But we have finally gotten to the end. And this is the beginning of that exactly because it's a best of 5. And we're hoping for great matches. I mean, we have Clubhouse Chalet. Those are going to be the 2 starters, which are basically the run-of-the-mill maps, which is going to make it more interesting to show what these teams really handle, what type of yin-yang composition they bring. And in the meanwhile, I mean, I'm just looking forward to bring it all in, have ourselves a blast. And I mean, when these players are ready, I certainly am. Delta, you said you are. I hope all you viewers are as well because there's going to be a lot of heat, a lot of emotions, and yet again, a big prize pool in the midst of it all. Who stands between whose way? That's the question we need an answer to, and I'm just hoping to see which team here is going to be winning. With it, though, we slowly start moving into Clubhouse, which has been with us in Siege for such a long time. But at the same time, it's going to be the decider of the first round in the 5 series today.
Yeah, absolutely. Both rosters absolutely stacked. You know, so many really strong players. Hugo, especially coming from an incredibly strong lower bracket final. Let's get into these operator bans. Let's see how that's going to work. Silent Family were really punished on this map back in the upper bracket final when MolotovGang brought Clash. On their defensive rounds, they took 2-3 rounds just over incredible holding actions off the back of Clash play. So we'll hopefully see that get banned out by Silent Family, lest they get held any further.
Honestly, for MolotovGang, I'm expecting a blitz and a ying from the bans, mostly because they themselves said that they don't really like the operators, but not surprisingly, it's going to be none other than Hibana Hatchplay. We have it all in a map such as this. And you know what's funny to me? In the interview in the background when we were talking about MVG, their final note was, and I quote, "We are well prepared with Destroyer Goldies, Opening Frank Just, Angry Variox, No English Hacky, and Olaf Schlotz Ane." Now, I'm excited to see what ESA SF are going to be bringing, but the second ban, Vigil, honestly not too much of a surprise, and now we got to see what Silent Family are going to respond with.
And there it is, very much a target ban coming out from Silent Family, and a very smart one as well. The Clash play, I mean, you can't attribute absolutely everything to the Clash play, but when they were attacking, especially those top floor sites, the Clash playing around in that kind of lower garage, bottom red area, moving around, really nimble, being held and supported from rafters. You know, it was such incredible demonstration of how to play Clash that I am not surprised they've taken it from the board today. MolotovGang, they put on an absolute masterclass. I believe it was Hassie who was playing the Clash in those rounds, and yeah, taking it off the board, I think that was a no-brainer for them as we get into this first round. Really interesting how the meta has switched, isn't it, Bob? How we've seen more and more teams start defaulting to going downstairs. It used to be the case that, you know, for years, you know, first round, you know, unless you were doing a now infamous meme strategy, you'd be in that CC room. But nope, we're going to be down in church today, Bob.
And that's what really happens when you introduce characters such as the Tubarão, when you have Maverick being played all throughout. And of course, Silent Family, they're on the defense, they're going church, the best side considered to be on Clubhouse. Hopefully going to be winning out a bit more rounds on this first half. We're expecting at least 3-3. Yet again, Clubhouse has been with us for a long time, as mentioned prior. But in the meanwhile, we have to consider that at the same time, defense is always favored. Sitting back in sight, especially playing off of that utility alone, is going to be working towards you. And MolotovGang, I'm wondering what they're going to be doing. Well, of course, we don't see the Van anymore, so hatch play is going to be a bit harder to work off of, but that's why we have Just on that Maverick, ready to slowly blow torch it away, and of course, make it a bit of a faster or a bit of a slower approach, but at the same time, you know, you got to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I espouse as we go through is you've got to hit these attacking milestones, and these are some really quick entries coming from MVG. They're a really good team at establishing the tempo of a game extraordinarily quickly. They hit the tempo, they mix it up, they keep an enemy team off balance, as they did to Silent Family on this map back in the upper bracket final. Really, really good team establishing and maintaining that tempo. And you can see they're entering, they're completing a top floor roam clear, and they're already starting to look at moving towards that site, but in a very controlled fashion, Bob.
Very controlled indeed. In the meanwhile, Silent Family not having much of groundwork themselves. They're sticking to the basics, down to sight, and playing a bit of a turtle strategy down below, as right now they're just waiting for everything to come to them. That's the basic of the defense. You wait for the attackers to approach you. In the meanwhile, you try to stop them with maybe some C4s, which could be quite dangerous, especially for that Maverick. You lose him too fast, and it's gonna be deadly. But that's why you back off, you trick the C4, and you waste utility. Great way of using this attack to your advantage, but right now, I mean, Silent Family giving up this much ground so early on without any contention, it's going to be quite dangerous.
Yeah, the you know, maybe a bit unlucky with that C4, and maybe a bit unlucky, or maybe a bit missing out on the trick a little bit by not having a very active roam presence. They're allowing MolotovGang to really put their stomp on this round so far. They're ceding a lot of territory. They're not really contesting it, which was something that they did exceptionally well against LDL back in the lower bracket grand final. So interesting to see how this is going to pan out for them. As the C4, it just misses, just unlucky. The pings go out, but there. The return, as Marks will be the first person to go down in this grand final.
Vario, he's ringing up SilentFamily. That's going to be your Cade lost. Also a C4, a second one missing out. Not the greatest waste of utility. That's where MolotovGang really come in. Even themselves, they said they really rely on utility. So I'm wondering how they're going to be working themselves to the bone when on that defense. But right now we have to focus onto this present. Thatcher EMPs coming down the line, ready to deny any type of scopes, any type of pushes. Aggression, it needs to be at an all-time low. But for SilentFamily, they're ready to be proactive. One from Glockock, second one from Flipper. Good double, triple even, converted to 3 because it's going to go down to that quad and leaving Goldies in a 1v4 situation. 20 seconds remaining, and shots are spread left, right, and center as he just can't respond. Laying down is going to be your best option. Well, SilentFamily bringing this much aggression, I mean, what can you really do?
Yeah, that was really nice. That I have my doubts about how they approach the round. I won't lie. I have my doubts about how they approach that because they seeded the top floor, no contest. They seeded the second floor, they seeded the ground floor, no contest. And then as they started encroaching onto the site, encroaching down to the floor, that's when SilentFamily struck. And we saw 3 kills come through in the space of 2 seconds. I don't care who you are, no team is going to survive and push through that kind of momentum blocker. That was really good, kind of, unexpected defense from SilentFamily. And it was also kind of, after that initial minute, a kind of slow egress onto site from Molotov. Some little gunfights coming out around the halfway mark, but mostly SilentFamily, they kept themselves to themselves, they played their game, and then they rushed out and dominated them. So that's really good, and a really good way to set the precedent going into round 2, set a precedent for the map. SilentFamily struggled on this map against MolotovGang back in the upper bracket final, and it's good to see them starting to adapt a little bit, start to, change a little bit about how they're approaching the game. They're going to go for a bit of an extended hold here. Classic, absolutely classic. You see a lot of competitive teams. They won't just hold gym bedroom. They won't even just hold construction. They'll push out and they'll try to do a very wide defense. They'll pull back as they start facing a little bit too much pressure. They'll cross their fingers and thumbs. They'll hope for a little exit frag, but then they can collapse in and they can waste a huge amount of time by owning that top floor.
It also shows really in the lineup how horizontality tends to change the lineup of a team. We went from this buck verticality over to Nomad and Striker, which is going to be interesting to see, seeing as Striker would be one of the newer introductions to Rainbow Six Siege. But at the same time, you said it, they're going to push out to Cash. They're going to control Red and Garage because giving up that control was what worked out for SilentFamily because they're really good at the same time with playing with their guns. But right now, you can't do that on Cash and CC. Breaches are going to be a major thing, especially on a side where there's multiple, and having so much lines cut off simply by opening walls is too much of a danger to risk. So yet again, wasting time, kicking time off the clock is going to be the major point of advantage. But MVG, quick advance. We already have the Maverick up in Cash and pushing SilentFamily back. Early shots in, but just he can't connect any. This is going to be dangerous. Yet again, you don't want to lose players on in the first minute.
Yeah, while reinforcers don't really cost you anything once you've got your core set up to, I feel like at SilentFamily, they probably could have held on a little longer, offered a little more resistance going into that CCTV and cache area. They didn't offer that resistance. MolotovGang, they've captured that territory now, and they're very much free for the next minute and 40 to go ahead and just attack the site. They can implement their strategy kind of freely. I'm not seeing any roamers. I'm not seeing any kind of flank that they need to watch out for. They can just go ahead and stamp their authority on the round.
That's what this side is about, cutting off as much rotations as possible. We already have windows being open, and not only windows, but almost opportunity. Jugo very low on HP, barely standing still, as there is going to be that dox him, coming in so gracefully. But at the same time, MolotovGang making a great approach, but they seem to be a bit of a stall point. They cannot move out from this construction. Yes, they have windows, they have a breach, but Jacuzzi is completely closed by. There's a lot of rotations and a lot of opportunities for SilentFamily to back up into a corner, and a lot of ways for Goldies to find the opening. That's going to be a great one. You find the castle, but can you continue? No, not for one. Retaliation for Multi, though. Great, nice continuation. 50 seconds remaining. It's a 5v4 or a 4v3 situation, and we still have a lot going on because Jugo's coming out swinging, not for one, but Timothy with a second double kill on that MP7. Aine returns just for one, and we do need a bit more eliminations going in for MolotovGang, as that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing complete domination. It's down to a 1v1, and Goldies! He finds the remaining 2 and flushes them down the drain.
Simply lovely. as a famous world champion in another sport might say, simply lovely. Yeah, I think that round was very interesting, wasn't it, Bob? It was very interesting because we saw the SilentFamily, they saw them push out and they kind of maintain an extended hold for all of maybe 20 seconds. They retreated very, very quickly, didn't offer that much resistance. But then we saw MVG as they pushed up and they seized control of construction, as they seized control of, kind of all of the site before the Goldies kill. We saw both teams being a little bit risk adverse, I thought, a little bit unwilling to push in case you kind of lose your life. And I think we're going to see that for a couple of rounds yet, as both teams, they're going to understand the occasion. It's the grand final, for goodness sake. Both teams, they're going to be really nervous and looking to win in that way. So I don't think we're going to see the greatest gameplay in this first map. I think both teams, they're really just going to be settling into their stride. That said, you can't take anything away from Goldies, because I believe that was a 3-gate, and I believe also that was a 2v1 clutch. So that was, again, as I say, simply lovely. SilentFamily, the mentality is that, okay, we didn't quite do that one, right? But we know that we can, so we're going to go there again. Also, we're going to choose the CT, which has obviously fallen rather out of favour over the last few updates, or the split, over down in bar, which I think no one really wants. So we'll get round 3 started, Bob, and it's going to be an even split so far.
You know what? I think my bingo board is going to be entirely chanked off if we even get to see Bar today. Teams necessarily don't like Bar, and there's a good reason for it. But in the meanwhile, like you said, back to CC, back to Cash. A bit more extension would be preferable here yet again, and focusing on it is going to be why we have Glocka on that Goyo, shutting down this quick entry from these attackers, really working great. But SilentFamily, you're so good with your gunfights, but you don't take out these risks. Yet again, maybe it may be a reward coming out with that risk, but at the same time, these openings, you're so great with them. We saw so many refrags coming out the second one of your players was taken down, even though that 2v1 at the end was very unfortunate. MVG, they don't seem to be able to back up their gunfight as much as you can. So put that into advantage. Strategy definitely shouldn't be out of the consideration zone, but at the same time, I mean, complemented with your guns, with the only one doing that is going to be none other than Vario. Yet again, opening for MVG very early on, finding out Jugo, which is going to be extremely bad because that's the Azami.
Yeah, very important kill. Not least because of Azami's, utility developing as the round goes on. But also Hugo. I mean, I had Hugo down as my man of the match last time out here. Really incredible player. They showed up in the clutch moments. They pushed their team along, and that's going to be a big take off the board for MVG as they start to now encroach upon the site a little bit and offer a little more pressure a bit earlier than we did last round.
Ooh, Goldies follows right where Vario left off. A lot of damage onto Haki, but a double still keeps it going. Quad out of nowhere, MolotovGang completely shutting down and picking up whatever SilentFamily dropped. And there it is. That's the infamous Ash player. Goldies finishing it off with a nice, very nice icing on the cake, being this third flawless round.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big statement of intent, isn't it? That's a very big statement of intent to make on round 3. And I think we saw, whereas that first time round up in Gym Bedroom was it was a relatively even fight. It only got lost out at the end because of some good gunplay, a bit of a clutch. That second round, round 3, that was SF lost that round. I mean, take nothing away from MVG, of course. They had to put the cursor on top of the heads and then click or to press the trigger. But it was these swings, Bob. It was the swings from SilentFamily as they just started, doing really wide swings when they didn't really necessarily need to. One person did it, and then the rest of the team did it as well. Like lemmings from a cliff, if you will. Very unfortunate, okay? Because you don't want to see that kind of mentality drop as you're at the early stages of a round. This is where you kind of set the pace. You set the momentum, you set the tone for the story that you're going to tell through the grand final. This is where you set the pace, and it's a bit disappointing maybe to see that creep into the game in round 3. Round 4 now, we're going to go back down to basement. Obviously, SF won this in round 1, so they're looking to say, you know what, we lost that one twice. Let's consolidate. We've got basement again. Let's make it even.
An early equalization surely wouldn't hurt. We've had one before, and maybe a second one could be making a returning. Who knows? For now, we still need to see what's going to be happening here from MolotovGang, as the last time they lost on this was also quite a dominant round from SilentFamily. Once one player of theirs was lost, they returned 5 for the deal to make it an ordeal, and in the meanwhile, gained a great round, but that was the only one they have. Hopefully, they can follow it up with a second, as time will tell, and in the meanwhile, quick droning. I'm loving MVGs, how quickly they clear out this top and, of course, middle floor, going down very very hastily, but at the same time, they're not cutting corners. They're making sure everything is clean, clear, and ready to go for this preparation to be set up. Although this time around, SilentFamily are putting up a bit more of a fight, destroying drones, wasting time, and at the same time, I'm hoping those C4s will actually nicely land.
Yeah, so early gunfight's coming out here, and it's good to see that they are going to start challenging them a little earlier in the round, putting a bit of fear into them and slowing down their push. MolotovGang, they were very quick to assume control of the building, as it were, but apart from basement in the last round, they're not going to be as rapid this round because they are going to be aware that we do have people watching, maybe a little bit wider than they did back in round 1. I am interested though that we've not really seen that much of a roam game from SilentFamily. It's quite unconventional in a way, isn't it? Typically you would see 1, maybe even 2 people sat out, maybe on the wide holes, maybe even just like, chilling up in lobby for instance. The roam clearing from MPG, maybe this is where SilentFamily have looked at what happened in the last game. The roam clearing has been so thorough that maybe they've just said, you know what, we're not going to bother. We're just going to clamp down tighter than tight as a nut on that site, and we're just going to see what happens. As the C4 almost smacks Variox, takes them unaware, but they'll escape with just a few points of damage.
It's always the almost for SilentFamily, but we need to confirm things through. MVG are playing dead to rights right now, and they're reaping off of your own mistakes. SilentFamily, this could be it. Right now, the best site you've got and the best showcase you could have, it's right now in front of you. It could be a repeat of round number 1, or yet again, it could be MVG taking it for the 3rd time in a row, slowly approaching, one stuck behind Generator. Right now, people pushing, ready to have this crossfire be absolutely delightful. Mute won't be peeking. I hope Timothy won't be risking his life. And oh, what a beautiful pre-fire onto Justice's head. The Headhunter, once again, Timothy finding that secondary pick, although close range is where he's at. And Goldies is 2, finds Glocka. That's going to be a great retaliation, only for 1, though, taking off the medic on the enemy team. 20 seconds remain, and this is where the action is about to get hot. It's all getting heated, and this is going to be Molten. Flipper finds onto Hacky. A meanwhile double yet again. MVG taking the lead for once again 2v1 situation. Can SilentFamily do what the Bug did on CC? And of course, I believe it was Cash. Down 1 player, pistol is out, but it's going to be none other than Jugo to deliver the final blow, or the TCSG player. Jugo is the one to down the player on main. Still SilentFamily, barely by the skin of their teeth, just managed to capture it.
Yeah, a little bit of payback there, I think, for round 2, where the clutch up came through. A little bit of payback. Back on Goldie's obviously the person who did the clutching up. That was really, really, really quite nice to see that SF. They're taking them the distance. Okay, they're really pushing them all the way. And both teams, it's a little bit scrappy. It's a little bit disjointed, but they're both coming out and they're going at it hammer and tongue, and that's really nice to see. Goldies, I mean, listen, they didn't quite win that last gunfight, but I think you've got to say they're having an incredible game. Everyone else maybe still warming up a little bit, still, a little bit nervous. It's the grand final. No such jitters for Goldies, picking up 8 kills from the first 4 rounds. That's really very impressive. The rest of the team, and this is the thing with MolotovGang, is a lot of teams I find have like maybe 1 or 2, call it what you want, hero players, where they're your go-tos when you want to say, go kill. You know what I mean? Just go find a team, go kill them. Yeah, they're the players that you want. Everyone on MVG is incredibly capable of that. It's not ever just Goldies. Sometimes it's Hassie, sometimes it's Ines, sometimes it's all of the team can go ahead and be that guy. Today, it's Goldies, but all of them can do it. So you can't write any of them off in a clutching scenario. Goldies having a really lovely game from the off, but unfortunate that they weren't able to clutch out that one. We're going to go up now, and we are actually going to see CCTV for the first time in the game, deciding not to go back to gym beds. We've lost that twice. Let's try something different. Maverick, utterly unfazed by that by those bandit charges.
Unfazed, but HP bar surely isn't, as just right now, first time for everything, get that Maverick out yet again, though it is CC and Cash, you mentioned it, but of a change, we're taking huge risks. Hopefully no one's going to be swinging and finding the head of Just right now, as he's finding himself to be very unsuccessful on the Maverick breach, taking his sweet, precious time, but does end up being successful. Goldie's opening up with the Ash breach coming in quite useful. The Ash isn't just useful for guns, although Goldie's, give credit where it's due, he's currently 8-2 in the in the 4 rounds we've had up until now. That is absolutely huge. But as it all goes apart, finally SilentFamily connect their first C4 out of the, 5 attempted ones that we had up until now?
Yeah, really nice. First C4 kill that I think I've seen come through. And interesting that we've gone to CCTV and we do actually see Timothy there on the bandit, run around, and they're the wrong game. Variox gonna make some differences on site though, and it's all down to SilentFamily to try and claw this site back now. As a MolotovGang, they've started to take a little bit of control over the site.
Ping-ponging this advantage in man count, as this is going to be none other than Jugo to put it into their favor. SilentFamily yet again with this lead, squabbling up and ready to square up against MolotovGang, who does still have Goldies alive, but you need to be careful of Oil Pit. One goes up these stairs and it's going to be a death sentence. Jugo sticking close yet again, that SMG-11 shotgun combo. Chef's kiss, let me tell you. 1 minute remaining and we need to have a bit of a faster push-up, as it's only Jugo, low HP, left alone in a 1v2, and Timothy, we need to make a fast approach here. No one's really going for garage. Maybe it's a bit unfortunate for the side of SilentFamily, because this could have been a nice nasty double kill, although we do have a bit of a recoup from the final 2 players on the defense. Actually, smoke canisters coming out, MVG going from all sorts of sides, trying to cross as many lines as possible. Yet again, this construction has been the bearer of bad news for MolotovGang, as they've lost 1-2 players around this area. 30 seconds remaining. It's all red pinks coming out, flash as well. Finding the feed is going to be Goldies onto one, just pushing up. The last one is going to be top red, none other than Timothy. Red dot, a bit of a cursed sight, but it doesn't work for him as he finds the headshot for 1 and a second onto just. Another clutch, second time in a row for none other than SilentFamily, and lightning striking Marathon just twice.
Delicious. Absolutely delicious. That was really good. I think, sing the praises of Timothy. That was really good role play. Calm, controlled, not just taking a fight for the sake of it. They didn't really deny any kind of time. They didn't burn time, but they came back around from an unexpected angle and they clutched up. I do wonder if they knew he was in Oil Pit. That I do wonder that, because they both very, very easily could have ran up rafters. Neither of them did. I do wonder if they knew that he was there, but then fell prey to a really fantastic holding action from Hugo, who I think burns about 30 seconds of time over on site, whilst Timothy getting in position. And then when it came time to execute the flank, when it came time to actually click on heads, Timothy was not found wanting at all. Absolutely lovely role play there. Fantastic. Got to shout out Goldies maintaining that 2.0 KD. I know it's not the most important stat in competitive play because they are behind, but putting the team on the back a little bit, as it were, as everyone else starts to warm up, and SilentFamily retaking the lead in round 5. Lovely stuff. But here is where it gets a little bit interesting, because they're going to take us back to that to gym bedroom. They lost this site twice so far in this half. This is what stands between them and your kind of ideal defensive half. Okay, your optimal. You want to get like a 4-2 split, if not more. And this is where they're going to try and get it, at the site that they've lost twice.
And will it be a third time for MVG to claim it out and maybe even have a balanced first half? We're going to have to see. SilentFamily haven't been the most confident over towards this gym bedroom side, but this is the time to do it if it was none other than now. And again, more breaches, this is what we need. It's very infamous for how much angles need to get cut off, especially because of not only window play, the balcony being quite dangerous itself, and again, Vario being the prime example of it, opening up those windows with the ice charge. The castle is a great addition, and it also does force out some picks. And in the meanwhile, the only picks that could be handed here is going to be Timothy standing a bit too close to that Maverick line, as his life is in danger, no doc to stim him up, and he's left with, 10 HP?
Yeah, very low indeed, Timothy. Very low indeed. But not out of it yet. They can still click on heads with the best of them. Interesting that they've kind of allowed these breaches to come through so late, MVG. I would have maybe wanted them to come through a little earlier in your attacking milestones, in your attack site prep. But, they're starting to make those maneuvers. That's a very lovely, accurate swing going out from Hugo. I think, the MVP from last game against the MVP so far from this game. And this time, Hugo will be the one to claim Goldie's scalp opposed to the other way. Really lovely swing. And now put a little bit of the fear into this MVG lineup, as now they know, okay, Goldie's off the board. Okay, they've got more than half of our kills so far. So it's up to the rest of the team now. We all need to step up. We all need to commit.
And it's going to be Vario swinging into bathroom, finding not only one, but just with a second. Retaliation from Flipper is going to be great. Some refracts are always nice to see, but does it matter when Vario's going off on a triple and Just is there to back him up from Windows side? What a performance from MVG. They lose out on that powerhouse, they so-called Goldies, who has been really performing, but not for the last time. MolotovGang just managed to push it through, finally breaking this line of defense. And yet again, for the third time, 3 for 3, winning on Gym and Bedroom, getting themselves a very balanced first half, heading over to its defense as well.
And there it is, vindication. That not, that as I was saying, MVG, it's not just a one-person team. It's not a team that's like built around one or two incredible fraggers. It's not a team that's built around one or two superstar players. It's a team of incredibly good, mechanically gifted players who can work together and can turn up when the other one goes down. Okay, that's the thing with MVJ, and that's why they put their place in the final, because all of them can turn it on when they need to. Lovely stuff from Variox to really pull together, galvanize the team, and push them through to a 3-3 split. Not ideal for SilentFamily, not ideal at all. Also not ideal for MolotovGang. Both teams even Stevens as we go into the second half of this map. Bob, tell me, is this one going to be unlimited overtime?
Don't tease me. Don't tease me with a good time here. Honestly, I would expect it to be so. I think Clubhouse is really a map that depends on teams more than strategy, because, I mean, strategy, yet again, who doesn't know Clubhouse overall? But I'm worried here in this round for MolotovGang, especially because they're on that defense. They don't like the Blitz nor the Ying, and SilentFamily are going to be the bearer of bad news, but not for the start of the match. Goldies, not liking being taken out so early in the prior round, is going to be taken out his aggression onto poor Jugo. Yet again, returning that fire and being the big man of the house, the father, and taking out also a Grim, which is going to be a really valuable aspect, or would have been a really valuable aspect into that later game.
Yeah, Hugo v Goldies has turned out to be a bit of a spectacle now, isn't it? As both players really giving it all they've got. Both of them fragging the other one out, trading rounds out. It's really fun to see. The vertical gameplay coming from the Ram, that's going to go pretty much unanswered. SilentFamily not having, a vast, kind of amount of resistance as they start to perform their attack site prep. They've got the vertical open through kitchen hallway. They're hopping these hatches, and it's basically unanswered so far, Bob.
Definitely is. SilentFamily needing to get into the groove of things, start jamming out, as you've lost out on quite an aspect, none other than Jugo. But hopefully you're going to be able to respond yet again. There's going to be no actual counter to that Ying, besides the Wamai, which is going to be a great way to kind of stray away thing, but not necessarily shut it down. That's why the Candelas are so deadly, and at the same time, you're not rocking a Warden. No denial specifically like a Jaeger, and at the same time, your mirror windows are too being denied in the process of it all. Twitch, really good value out of that drone. In the meanwhile, 1 minute 20, slowly counting us down. I'm just waiting for it all to drop down from 0 to 100.
Bit of a lull in the gameplay so far. The attackers, seems like they don't really want to commit to any one plan, and this is what I said earlier about maybe both teams still a little bit uneasy, still a little bit unsure of themselves. This is SilentFamily's first attacking round in this grand final in a best of 5. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but it seems like they're a little bit stuck for ideas. I will say that their droning, which improved immensely against LDL in that lower bracket final, that's continuing. They're still droning, they've got the intel going, but now we're in that last 30 seconds and they're looking to start commit. We're going to see the Young come through, but that's going to invite Goyo to pop their canisters and start slowing down the push. Effectively, they're going to have 10 seconds to push through onto site and start picking up these frags.
Be that as it may, there's still the great denial from the Goyo Yinks popping out. You said it, but Timothy is going to be the only one 6 foot under. 5v2 as, of course, MVG are completely shutting down SilentFamily in each single part of the tracks. Duckstim coming out, and it's going to be finding out the only way for MVG to win here is going to be none other than that icing on the cake, not only burning the Ying alive, but at the same time Twitch down, pushing into that vector. Goyo double kill towards the end. It's going to be a great collaboration. Round 8 underway, and we have finally the lead MVG we're looking for.
Yeah, it's been a while coming. I think a lot of people are, saying, particularly amongst the, the community, saying MVG are your favorites to win. I don't think that's unfair to say, because they did book their place in the final by beating SilentFamily. It's an entirely sensible viewpoint to have. SilentFamily, they've come through from that lower bracket grand final where they absolutely dominated the best team in the competition. I don't think it's as fair as maybe a lot of people will say it is, in terms of backing MVG. You've got to show some respect to SilentFamily because this is the first time in this game that MVG have actually had the lead. So it's really really strong to see that come through. SilentFamily, they're now going to have to attack Gym Bedroom. Now they lost this site 3 times on defense. How is it going to be different as they attack it? Because you kind of see there's a difference between the defending the site and attacking it. Quite often, there won't be a correlation between how good a team is at defending a site and how good a team is at attacking a site. As you say, Bob, I think it's all just going to come down to the mechanics, isn't it? Which team can click on heads better?
Definitely will. MVG, 4-3. Not a bad start. I think SilentFamily can still bring it back. It's only 1 round deficit, right? There's never too late up until we're towards that match point. And yet again, if we finish it within regulation and don't tend to go to that overtime, I think MVG are the closest to it as of now. But SilentFamily at the very start barking up the wrong tree, although MVG ready to return the fire as they quickly make an introduction towards Cash. And this is what, yet again, SilentFamily, we have seen how you played on defense. But it's a similar way of MVG playing on defense as well because they're giving up too much ground too quickly. We have CC completely controlled. There's like a lot of, I would say, utility. Also, we see reinforcements from the side of MVG towards Cash itself. And yet again, you're just giving it up so easily for what? Wasting what, 20-30 seconds? I don't think that's worth it. Put a player there, maybe on red, a bit of distraction, add some time to be ticked off the clock because MVG right now you need to play into your advantage.
Yeah, no real wide holes coming through and no frags coming through either so far. The shot's going to come through, they're going to pop the Izami barrier and they're going to pop the shield behind this. Now that's a one clear viewpoint right the way through from Cash, right the way through to the end of bed. That's the end of gym even, actually. Both teams a little bit slow to get started. We're seeing 29 frags from MVG, playing 22 frags from SilentFamily. MVG a little bit more mechanically gifted in this half so far. SilentFamily out strategizing their opponents on the defense, but this is an attacking round. It's very, very different. Glocker going to take a little bit of damage from the defenders there, and Variok's going to respond by putting Hugo down. No Goldies v Hugo storyline so far, Bob.
MolotovGang starting it off with painting the picture red with none other than Jugo. Not having the best of performance into this round, yet again catching a lot of trades. In the meanwhile, will be the first pick as we look to advance to further ones. MVG, yet again, great start. Can we continue it? That's what usually the situation tends to come to, as Variax is going to be the one to have it be a second. Following with a third is going to be none other than SilentFamily's pick from Mercs, finally showing himself on that kill feed, as just from behind that MP7 on main, being really strong and at the same time having so much influence alongside Goldie's. A very nice crossfire, and people swinging out left, right, and center. It's just going to be too much for SilentFamily to handle.
Yeah, it was a really slow attack phase there from SilentFamily, wasn't it? Really, really slow. They took their time. They didn't really hit their milestones on time, which is, getting to the building in the first minute. We saw them still breaching it by the time 2 minutes rolled around. Get into the building in the first minute, get in there, do your kill, and get out again. Very, very simple. It's that kind of map, you know what I mean? You know your strat, run through your strat, hit your timelines, bish, bash, bosh, you walk away with a trophy. Not so for SilentFamily. We'll see the first 2-round deficit in the game so far. And in the end, we saw those crossfires coming through from MolotovGang. It was just really well coordinated. One of the dangers, and this is why we saw the clutches against SilentFamily in the first half, is when you do have a man advantage, it can be tempting. In that back of your head, everyone says, "I want to be the hero. I want to go and get the kill." It can be very tempting to do that, but MolotovGang very disciplined, which is very much a feature of their play, setting up the crossfires, ready. They have to come to us. We don't have to go to them. Let's just make sure of the round, and there they did. 5-3 to MolotovGang, and here we are. Very famously, the deciding site in the Berlin Major way back when. It's a really interesting one because you don't attack it very often. You see this in casual, you see this in ranked, and you think, yeah, that's a freebie. Very, very easy. but you can strat for it as a defender, and I don't know if SilentFamily will have stratted for it as an attacking team.
Really unpredictable. I guess my bingo board is finally ticked off. This is not what I was expecting. But what I'm not seeing here from SilentFamily is this type of pressure. From MolotovGang, they took up so many angles, put so much pressure onto SilentFamily as defenders, pushed him back at every corner, took him out, player after player, and even when SilentFamily won, they felt that presence of MVG. But we're not seeing the same on the attack of SF right now. We need them a bit more around the place. MVG give off so much ground, especially towards that gym and bedroom site. They gave off ground very early. They gave them these opportunities. But SilentFamily didn't play into those advantages. They just let them slip by. And that's the biggest mistake we've been seeing up until now. As, of course, we can't make a prediction to how this will go because once in a lifetime is only when you experience bar and competitive. And MVG, even more ridiculous of a lineup. As we do love the Doc, yet again, Hacky being the Doc Stimmer known between his team. Also, the Echo is going to be a really interesting addition. I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, one thing I really love is that they've got some pre-made vertical actually up on that up in logistics, with just on the castle holding beneath. We are seeing them take very long to actually conduct this vertical roam clear, and I think this is kind of how you have to play it. You just have to deny at every stage of the map. If they can get right the way down to site, that's when you got a problem. Just gonna fall. They've wasted the time. They've not found a scout for themselves. Glocker picking up that first kill for SilentFamily. There's the man advantage. Can they make this stick?
Skull cracked. One-way shield. Interesting strategy yet again, playing this verticality. Great way for MVG to claim something, if nothing else. Lost out on a player, but you've wasted great time. Is it a good trade-off? Definitely not, because this late game is going to be a hellhole, especially with Grim still being counted in, those Bs going absolutely wild. A bit of a retreat from these remaining players, as they do tend to back off. Yet again, though, SilentFamily need to make a move, but it's Variox to find a retaliation shot onto none other than Mercs, finding that so-praised Grim. In the meanwhile, completely sandwiched out bottom top lane, both contested as MVG right now are nicely sitting back, waiting chaos as it unfolds, as SilentFamily are just looking for anything to claim. Gadgets are out, that's fantastic, but we need kills. Time is slowly running out, and we're gonna have to push it down. This burst of aggression isn't necessarily what you want to rely on, but if SilentFamily, if that's your silver bullet, then so it may be. Glucker with a second, that's gonna be the Grey Gun. The IQ LMG really showing its strengths. Oh, Flores, you walk into the lines of sights of one. Goldie's still sticking about. That's gonna be Hacky as well, just patting him on the back, letting him know, I'm still your comrade, I'm still here to help. A 1-for-1 deal, but in the end, it's the only profit going towards MolotovGang, as they can just sit back, nicely relax, wait for it all to stop out, and even when pushing into the lines of Variox, you still lose Timothy, and that's going to be another round, none other than match point as well.
And there you have it. There you have it. See, that's why in competitive it can be so difficult, because you saw not only did MVG pick that, maybe to be a little bit controversial, be a little bit we can take you anywhere, play into that mental side of it, but they did it because they've stratted it. You saw that very plainly. The pre-made vertical and logistics that made it so that Hassie as a castle could stay safe in kitchen and just shoot upwards. He could hold several areas at once, deny that time. Didn't hold it for too long against Goldies, I will confess, but did their job. I thought it was very interesting. I thought there was a couple of flaws with how the site was prepared as well. Roamers, when they're exiting the site, when they're exiting the extended holds, having to break down their own castle barricades to get back to site. Interesting, but it worked out for them. And SilentFamily, I think it was quite evident that they didn't really have something to counter it. And you've got to shout out Goldie. What a lovely passive hold in stock. Just saying, you know what? I've got you in my crosshairs. I'm going to choose when you die. You don't get to choose that. You don't get to swing me. I just get to click when I want. Very, very lovely. 6-3 then. I should say map point. MolotovGang maybe 3 minutes away from taking the first point of the series. And that'll be a really nice boon for them, given how the game started, given how they were kind of behind a little bit. That'll be really nice for them to have re-established that momentum and pushed it so quickly. They're now sitting on 5 rounds unopposed. They won round 5, round 6, round 7, round 8, and round 9. And Bob, I guarantee you they're feeling fine.
They're definitely feeling fine. Maybe they're going to go 6 rounds in a row. Who knows? They're ticking it up. They're slowly counting up the ranks because money's looking huge. MolotovGangers are right now standing on business. SilentFamily, though, we need an answer. I mean, going 7-3 so quickly on, and in a map such as Clubhouse, which is gonna be, I believe, their pick, maybe. Let me check. Yeah, this is SilentFamily's pick. So, yet again, you feel comfortable on this map, but it's not the best result. Not showing what a great future it could be leading into the following ones that MVG are definitely taking it away. A nice little fast push. Yet again, SilentFamily would love that you're taking as much time as you can, but at the same time, trading out players, Jugo extremely low. That's going to be your so-considered top fragger. We do love that there's versatility. You mentioned it earlier. Delta, on both of these teams, anyone can work the job, but for MVG, it seems to be a bit more clear. And in the meanwhile, though, still goldies. I mean, 15-5. Are you kidding me? This player controlling the situation. Although verticality coming out. C4 still not connecting yet, and MVG just sitting back, nicely cozied up, and waiting it for all to come to them.
Yeah, the ban on Clash coming through from SilentFamily, but still losing in this manner. I mean, not all the way yet, let's not jinx it, but, you know, still being very much behind, I should say. It shows that as the frags don't quite come through, but they will force them from cover, it shows that MolotovGang, they're not a one-trick pony. Here's the vert, also unsuccessful. SilentFamily, gonna have to look elsewhere. Drop through hatches, look through main entry. What do they have in their locker to respond? 1 minute on the clock, match point.
Oh, Variox, he's dialing up. SilentFamily, where's the response? Are you going to leave MVG on scene? I don't think they're going to be liking that too much. Drones out, we have 3 players in one room, going for all verticality that they can. But in the meanwhile, you have to watch your footsies, as Glocka does exactly that. He listens to the words and finds himself a Variox. HP is looking quite similar on the side of Goldies and Jugo, so both fraggers quite low on it, but the only one dropping down below 6 foot is going to be Glocka himself. Finds one, gets found right after. Nice little traditional exchange. Is in between. It's going to be still MVG finding that retaliation as Heine's on it, still sticking to this church wall, but not for long, as Timothy is going to be making an introduction in for himself, not beating around the bush, though. We need to make a push. Timothy, you find yourself one, can you find another to get that leverage for yourself? 15 seconds remain. It's all or nothing. SilentFamily, you can either keep going or lose very early on. You're stuck in armory. Diffuser is upstairs, and in 10 seconds, you need to find these kills, and that's exactly what they do. How do they manage it? Unstoppable force as they just steamroll each one of these players, and all that was needed from MVG was to simply play a game of hide and seek.
Yeah, the swings. Usually that's a trait of SilentFamily. The swings as they swing out, they get picked off. You know, these swings that you don't necessarily need to do as a defender in particular. As an attacker, you know, you need to go chase the game, you need to go push. But as a defender, you know, you can sit back. You can relax, and especially in the situation when there's 10 seconds on the clock, the attackers are 1 floor down, you know, 3 miles away from any stairs, and the diffuser's upstairs. Yeah, so, you know, a big misplay there from MVG, and, you know, the communication just not quite there. Getting a little bit excited maybe as they know it's map point, they know they can go 1-0 up in the series, but they fall short. Bit too keen. Back to reality. Back to grounded. We are still 6-4. They're going to go back to the site where they have won every round on this site so far. Here we go. Gym bed, SilentFamily, they need to change it up here. They really do. They really need to change something in their attack. They've been poor on this site, over in defense. They never took a round, and they struggled on attack. And now MolotovGang, this is the one where they say, okay, that one was a freebie. That one was a mistake by us. We know we can take this against you. 3 minutes, potentially 1-0 in the series after that.
Our SilentFamily capable of finally breaking the curse known as gym and bedroom on the top floor, with MVG clearly taking it away each time. Well, we're gonna have to bite the bullet and see. Right now, still very early on to this round. Hopefully no aggressive plays. Spawn peaks do seem to be kind of tested. MVG are really testing if SilentFamily are watching out for those, although not committing to it fully is going to be a bit of a wonder, as it could have ended in one player losing their head. In the meanwhile, nice little push. SilentFamily still backing off from the outside. Finding these breaches very quickly is going to be extremely essential, because yet again, the amount of pressure you put on simply by cutting off this rotation around the gym bedroom area, which forces it down to bathroom and logistics, absolutely fantastic. Great way to work yourself around them. And in the meanwhile, MolotovGang still have to work themselves to the bone to finally claim out this match point, as they only have 2 lifelines remaining.
Yeah, you can see the very extended hold as they still holding CCTV cash. don't actually know if Silent Family are going to push there. MolotovGang, they don't have that intelligence. They've not seen them on the cams. They've not heard any audio calls that it's going to be a full push elsewhere. And now we are going to see Silent Family. They're going to reward MolotovGang's patience by starting to progress onto Garage. And it's a minute and a half. We're halfway through the round, and they've got to try and blast their way through a ton more utility. So they're a little bit behind in their attacking setup so far, Bob.
Glocka's HP being a bit of a slap on the wrist as the Ash player will need to get in, and a bit more action will be expected. Right now, same situation with Goldies. Nicely exchanging them, but the difference is Silent Family don't have Hacky on that dock. They only have hopes and wishes that guns and headshots will be delivered before they're delivered to them. Endgame slowly about, and it's going to be Hacky finding the first one. Oh, the Grim yet again having such an unfortunate turn of events all the way through. This Grim really hasn't been finding much success in the entirety of Clubhouse, and hopefully we're going to be seeing a bit more from him following the other maps. But up until then, right now, MolotovGang still a flawless lineup. All players alive, very healthy, ready to put up a fight, and in true nature, still aggressive. Silent Family, though, where are we missing? Where are we missing those opportunities? Yudokabi calls her out. A second breach from the Thermite as not much ground has been established. A one-sided push as it's going to be the C4 chucked. It's going to be a shoot and a hit from the player on the inside bathroom. Right now, a 1v1 situation as people are pushing win. We have the Dokkaebi logistics, the rotation cut off, so you find yourself lost. A bit of a dead end, and a 1, Varayax 2. Can we count up for the 2 remaining? It's going to be the Thermite retaliating, but in the end, it's just not clearly enough. Yet again, taking us down to those final 5 seconds, and hopefully MVG won't be swinging the last 3 players in, just delivering the coup de grace, and that is going to be none other than MolotovGang taking map number 1.
Yeah, there it is. Really strong defense in depth there coming out from MVG. They held, and they held their nerve, didn't they? It would be very easy for some teams to say, okay, well maybe they are full pushing over on the breach into hallway. Maybe they are full pushing as they look at bathroom. No such thing. No such thing. We see Silent Family. They start pushing around. They start changing their tactics mid-round, maybe thinking, oh, we can catch them off guard. But then they've got to push through so much utility that they really do get bogged down. And as then they get bogged down, they get killed. And it just kind of spirals from there, doesn't it, Bob?
It definitely does, and that was quite a strong match. I mean, the fact that MVG won out every single round on Gym and Bedroom is hilarious, but at the same time, Silent Family, the adaptation, we needed to rise, especially going forward. It's a bit of a warm-up map. We'll consider it a bit of a fluke for now. But following up, I'm just terrified if this keeps up, MVG are going to be having no issue in winning the grand finals. And we want to have a good match, a good rivalry between the final 2 teams. And we definitely had it for a moment, just not all the way through.
Yeah, yeah. It's very unfortunate. I think for Silent Family, they started strong, but today, as you saw in the build-up, you don't get to see my ugly mug try and psychoanalyze these players. You don't get to see me rapidly run through stats, panicked as I try to sort out my chicken scratch of scribbles. We've got a lovely team of analysts, which are going to analyze the match for you and give you that little bit of extra detail. So for now, until the next one, it's been Porfo and I.
Okay, thank you so much, Puffo Delta. Loved every second of it. Map 1 kicked off this holiday showdown with a bang as one team unwrapped a series of clutch plays that left their opponents out in the cold. But don't hang up your stockings just yet. Map number 2 is on the way, and there's still plenty of room for a holiday comeback. The battle for ESA Cup continues, and it's about to get even more festive. Run! It's been a game of 2 halves for these teams, right? I mean, pace was set early and had a real pedal to the metal feel. How did that translate to the scoreline?
Yeah, obviously, great game there from the Molotov gang, winning 7-4 on Clubhouse, and slightly better performance from Silent Family versus their 7-1 early on in that upper bracket final. But right off the bat, Molotov Gang was very aggressive on their attacks, very quickly clearing, and that translated over on their defensive half as well. Spawn peaks, just feeling very confident, it felt like, throughout that entire match, both on the attacking and defensive side. And then to close it out on defense, I think pretty convincingly as well. very heavy on the utility meta. And even though you had a lot of gunners on the Silent Family side, they were just not able to really clear early enough and got forced into these situations where they were taking, unlucky or ill-timed swings. And Molotov Gang took advantage of all of that to win the map.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, Mighty, in the face of pace here, was adaptation the key to the cookie jar, or did it lock down the opportunity to feast here?
And I definitely gotta say, Silent Family switched around a lot of things. They turned over and tried different strategies as we know them for. They were quite good at adapting to the playstyle of their opponents. But this time, they wanted to adapt a little bit too much. They just moved around, scrambled in their strat book a little bit too much as they didn't see any baseline come through. And the defense rounds, where they gained themselves the 3-3 split, it looked quite even. They had a big intel gathering. They had a lot of utility to just take a lot of time away from the clock from MVG. They also had the momentum, also the confidence to play against going into these gunfights, also gaining the upper hand multiple times. But when they clocked over into attack, they had very much staggering play out. They just couldn't move forward. They immediately, when they met their first barricades, they completely lost time. They lost grip. They lost pace. I saw a huge lack of like active play and aggression and confidence, especially from round number 7 when they began to fall off against MVG. Yeah, they had one breaker in basement when they won with a lucky punch with a huge clutch there, but it wasn't enough. As after that scenario, immediately MVG was back on the case, and you just saw the first take, the first entry into the building often happened after 1.5 minute into the round, and it just takes a lot of time away from the clock that you need to play against MVG to just move into these key positions and gain these exit points. Another big impact, I had the feeling MVG had a little bit too many like headlines, footlines, vision lines on these windows and these doors. And Silent Family just tried to play one by one man. They had a ping, they had an intel on one guy, and they completely mislooked over all the other possible, I would say, cross lines and also these headlines, and then they lost take. As MVG always figured out a way of getting a sneak peek on these operators by Silent and knocking them out one by one. The major thing that I really hope Silent Family fixes for map 2 is their positioning. I had a feeling they had good team comms. They need to be a little bit more present. They got to be a little bit more aggressive and confident if you play against MVG, because MVG brings pace and pressure, and the only thing that's key against that is key against pace and pressure is bringing some of your own. That might get the playstyle of MVG slacking and lacking a bit. But another big thing is get your positions right. You gotta have positions. You gotta move in as a unit and be able to help your teammates out. As soon as you get a frag against you, you gotta be in a position to gain a possibility of having a refrag. These refrags worked completely up and fair for MVG. They worked perfectly fine for Silent Family in the defense, but they were not happening in the attack. So there's a lot of grounds for Silent Family to pick up for the second map, especially because this was their map pick, and now they're in the phase of saying we gotta win one map back that it isn't our favorite pick.
Okay, so speaking about winning the map back, map number 2 is coming at us, and you can almost expect that same sort of aggression, right? Whiskey coming out in map number 2. Do you think it's going to be the big factor? Are we still going to be able to see that same sort of strategy work? I mean, and did it work, right? It on the beginning half of it was a 3-3 split, right? So completely back and forth in the beginning of it is, of course, that second half where ultimately is where they found that victory.
I mean, the thing about looking at Clubhouse, that 3-3 split, all 3 of MVG's wins were on the 2F gym bedroom site. Dominated it. Every time that it got played, they won it. Silent Family was able to find wins on the others, but could never find success on one site. We talked about Molotov Gang having a very structured approach to Siege, very strat-based play, and they executed it flawlessly on that site. So Chalet has got some similarities to Clubhouse in that the map is slightly subdivided into smaller sections where you see engagements happen on, with the midpoints of the map, like the blue stairs hallway, right between library and the other half of the upstairs. It's sort of sectioned off, and MVG did a great job of managing that, containing the gunfights to the place that they needed to, using the utility meta to cut off areas of the map from Silent Family. So to me, this is MVG's map pick coming in after winning on Silent Families. I would think that they would come in very confident into Chalet because of some of that similar play style.
Okay. So, quick turn of events. You've heard us talk about it before. It wouldn't be live siege without a live siege issues, right? So, in the spirit of staying with that, there is going to be a quick restart to the stream. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. And when we do it, we're going to. Oh, hey, see what I mean? Welcome back. It was so quick, I wasn't even ready for it. Okay, so as we're getting set back up into the lobby, right? He's talking about Chalet. He's talking about the util mighty. So here's the question: Chalet, is it going to favor that protect the president approach, that really technical aspect where you have strats, where you have designated hold areas, and you don't deviate from that at all? Or is it going to more favor that swing from the hip, run in, punch the biggest guy in the face, and hope that you can come out with the man advantage on the other side of it?
I would say it's a little bit more about the strats and also having a key and game plan for the map. It's a map in the mid-scale section, and that means there's a lot of things to keep in mind. There's not these confined spaces where a lot of windows are occurred, but there are indeed a lot of entryways, a lot of doorways, a lot of windows that you need to cover, that you need to be mindful of when you move throughout the map. Another thing is we have a lot of breakable floorage, so vertical play was already implemented on map number 1. It will also be implemented on map number 2. So there's one thing that I want to see. I want to see these teams bring on more verticals, both in the defense, also in the attacks, and also be a little more aggressive on playing these against, as that way may be one of the biggest impacts that we shall see, especially because Chalet is a map where we shall see more play of playing 2 elevations at the same time to protect one and the same singular bomb site. We have, I would say, 3 bomb sites that you gotta play vertical and 2 elevations from, so they will be more spread from each other in the defense, and there are more key positions that you need to withhold and also try to defend as long as you possibly can to take that running clock away from your opponents, as they need a lot of time to clear out gadgets, and that is a key thing. SilentFamily need to tick up on their clock, as we know for a fact. Whiskey named it. They bring a lot of utility in the name of MVG, and I don't think that will change on Chalet, especially because you have so many things to withhold these key positions. I just say top blue to hold piano hallway and also display hallway. Meanwhile, also another shield potentially on May on I can't remember the call, in front of library, where you just have so many open areas that you need to play into, gain advantage of. That factor definitely means gotta look at your clock and gain the right moments when you have the opportunity.
Excellent. You heard it here. Pro strats. And guess what? We're back. It's time. Map number 2. We're going to turn it over to the seasoned, to the veterans, to the beautiful voices of Puffo and Delta, who are going to bring on the heat for map number 2. Boys, take us away.
There it is. There it is. We're back. We're back in and ready for another match. Chalet, map number 2. Now, we saw the performance from MVG previously, and well, we can't say it was nothing short of greatness. We're hoping to see a bit more of a backup on the side of family, but it's still me, Puff Above. It's Delta, and I think we're both really excited going into the second map. Are we not?
Oh, we are, we are. Do you know what though? I've got to say that Whiskey. I think that's the first time I've ever heard a Scouse accent referred to as seasoned or delicious or gorgeous or what. I was quite distracted. I was quite smitten with that. I think he was maybe referring solely to yours, Bob. But yeah, we're here. We're at Chalet. We're at Chalet. So it's an interesting map. I think Ryuin kind of hit it on the head, didn't he? Mid scale map. It's Whiskey added to it's one of these maps which it's really interesting. There's no real breaking strategies, but there's no real set strategies either. The way the map's constructed, you can hold different sites, including verticality, which is very prominent throughout the map. There's so many different ways to hold it that it comes down to mechanics and communication so much more, I believe, that it comes down to the actual strategy. It'll be really interesting to see how both of these teams approach it. It'll be interesting to see what SF do as a response. They're going to be defending first, as they were last time. Are they going to take Clash off the board? Are they going to try and respond to what happened last round? We've seen that MVG, they're a team that don't just have one strat. We don't have just this is our clubhouse strat, this is our chalet strat. They can do so many different things. Very very versatile team. So it's going to be down to SF to respond in their defensive half.
It definitely will. And what I'm scared for SF specifically here is if they lose this map, they're going to have one of the greatest tasks to be put up with, and that's going to be a reverse sweep. And that's really difficult to do, especially in Rainbow Six Siege. If we're going to be down to a 2-0 after this map, I mean, the fact that you're going to need to return 3 in a row is brutal, okay? So that's why I'm mostly hoping that SF managed to return at least this map, if nothing else. Maybe they lost out on their own. Maybe they could even return their own victory on the side of MVG's pick, but it's all down to a similar map on Clubhouse, and by similar, I mean the pacing. Yet again, well known, everyone knows the strategy. We just need to let it all be down to this adaptability or either flexibility of teams, of course, gunfights and strategy, as going over to the bans of these attackers and defenders. Starting off will be none other than Brava, and honestly, with how much default camps, how strong information is on this map, Brava is no sort of wonder.
Yeah, absolutely. I think SF they've really done well with upping their intel game, particularly since that upper bracket final where they lost to MVG. Their intel game came on leaps and bounds against LDL. They are missing Shinji. Shinji who stepped in. They've now got Flipper playing in that position instead in the roster. And I do wonder how much of an impact that was, because from memory, Shinji was quite prolific on the drones, was very much communicative with the rest of the team, and we saw how SilentFamily struggled over on attack, didn't we? The Kebi coming through, that's a second intel ban. That is, Bob, a second intel ban. So it's good. We are seeing kind of how the game's going to be. It's going to be very much more mechanic based than it is kind of, communications based, or if you're a bit of an idiot like me, they're on ping. And the rest of the bands, they're not too surprising, are they?
Not really. I feel like Mira, Zami, Dokkaebi, Bravo, each single operator works well with its own given chalet. But you said it, mechanically based. That's where SilentFamily thrives. And as MVG are really a bit more on that, I'd say, utility-based side, seeing already the Twitch, the Gridlock, the Ace, I'm just hoping SilentFamily really do work their wonders and find that natural 20 in their gameplay, because this should be where they search for it. We already see the Vigil that was banned in the prior match, none other than Clubhouse. We see the Doc on Timu, and at the same time, we see the entire team ready, warmed up. There are no excuses as to we don't know the team, we aren't well accommodated. This first map was a great warm-up for both. At the same time, they know each other's playstyles, and they are ready to take on whatever's in front of them, as MVG did get a better head start, but the race has not been ran yet, and we're still up to that catching up part. SilentFamily, you can still climb up the ladder, get a map in for yourself. The defense is the best way to do it, because keep in mind, this first half is the reason that the house gets built. It's that blueprint for the following rounds for that second half, and if you can get a 4-2 half, the comfortability going on to attack would be immense.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of different ways to look at it, isn't it? Because then when you go on to attack, you've got to chase the game, but you've given yourself significantly less of a task. You are still chasing, weirdly enough, from a position of being in front. It's one of the real beauties of Siege, that it can invite all these different kind of scenarios in which, a player's mentality is tested in these ways. We're going to go up to Master this first, Bob. It's going to be an interesting one. This is very much kind of, I think, it's everyone's default, I think. But we're going to see a kill come out early. Goldies and Hugo wasting no time in reigniting that rivalry.
Oh, the fire is lit, and how hot it is. I can feel it all the way over between this very cold winter. I mean, oh my god, poor Jugo. On that boss, he couldn't even handle a single shot. As Coldies, he's not gonna get stopped in his tracks. No, he's gonna be finding a second victim to put under the rug and bury deep in the dirt. 2 minutes are remaining still. Then we have had so many contests, as Hachi is gonna be finding a third for SilentFamily, just with a fourth, and the domination is absolutely insane. The only one left is going to be the Mute, who is shut down from behind, and MolotovGang starting off round number 1 in Chalet with none other than a flawless.
Take notes, everyone. Take notes. That's how you start. That's how you start. That's how you start a map. That's some incredible momentum they've built up off the back of that. MolotovGang, I said it in the last map. They're really incredible at building up this tempo. They're really good at starting the game quickly, changing up, keeping the team off balance. And oh my word, did they do that? Goldies with the 2K in the first minute. That kind of set the tempo, and it set the pace, and the rest of the round. It was just really one-sided 1v1s. And it seemed like there was no real response from SilentFamily. It wouldn't surprise me if 3 of the 5 of them didn't fire a shot in anchor before going down. That was comprehensive. I don't know how much time they had to scrim in the break, but apparently they've been training with SEAL Team 6, Bob.
I don't think MVG have gotten any sleep. I think they've been scrimming the entire night. That's my honest theory. I mean, we can see that they're going off of raw power. They don't even need that utility they're so comfortable in, because we have people swinging them, but in the end, they still win the outcome. No information needed. They play off of verticality. They play off whatever they're given, and yet again, the flexibility. They are so elastic on this attack. It is absolutely crazy to me. Still, we head into round 2. SilentFamily, it's a bit of a similar start, I'd say, but earlier they were the ones to start it off, so MVG, maybe they could have that curse brought upon them. Now SilentFamily could be going for that 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, whatever the case is. Please get some rounds in. Yet again, this early start is what sets the tempo, like, of course, set by Delta Bacon earlier, but at the same time, the pressure is what overwhelms you later on, and SilentFamily, you need to be the first one to pick up on it.
They're leaving only one person on site. Well, they're leaving only one person there.
Oh, no.
The whole team, apart from one person, effectively is going on their own, which I guess they're looking to back themselves in these 1v1 scenarios. That's going to it's going to work for them to start off with as Glocker picks up Hassi, but then there's no support for each other. And there you see Vereox, picking off Hugo as they rotate around. No answer, no chance of a trade. They'll turn around, they'll start pressuring Solarium.
Variox does not need any grip to have that F2 under control. Really stepping up to the task to get a kill back as if one was lost, putting them into the grave. SilentFamily, yet again, equalization of ban count is going to be up to it. Putting on their glasses right now, who sees better? Definitely no team, as we're at an equal ground level. Still playing these windows, very dangerous where you're going to be peeking, SilentFamily, and have to watch out for your footing, because any step could be a step in the wrong direction. 1 minute and 30 remaining, slowly pushing up, so much ground, completely sandwiching and webbing around SilentFamily's defense, as they're just left to hopefully contest, maybe get out with a pick of 2. Damage enters changed, but right now it's a swing from Goldies yet again. 4v3 traded out, but for not only once, but twice. A retaliation, time after time again, back-to-back kills, as it's MVG still keeping up this type of aggression. They have the lead for 1. Can they keep the diffuser in hands? Definitely not, as Glocka has to say about it. Shutting down the ace on half-ball, down onto him as well. Vario not letting it stand for too long, and a 2v1 right now. Yet again, we've seen this countless of times on Clubhouse, but in the end, Goldies is the one to be the final pop-up on that kill feed and claiming the second round in a row for MVG on Chalet.
Yeah, and I've got to say that I do think the approach there from SilentFamily is what lost them. I'm going to be very contradictory on myself earlier. It was strategy that lost them that, because deciding to push out in ones, not even twos, just ones, completely unsupported, all of them, whilst you saw MolotovGang, particularly towards the end there, they weren't fighting as ones. They were able to, push around. They were able to pick up these refrags. So they were trading, and they already had the man advantage. They're always going to win in that scenario. With SilentFamily being so extended out, so far apart from each other, when one of them went down, they weren't able to punish MVG, and in that way, they kept hemorrhaging the man advantage. I think bit of a faux pas maybe in terms of how they approach that round. Now we're going to go downstairs. They've played that site twice. They've lost, I think it would be fair to say, Bob, fairly comprehensively both sides, both times. So now they're going to try something a little bit different. This site, you have to have that verticality. You have to be able to back yourself in these fights from above, because you hold, typically, that quick jump in from above. So MolotovGang, they're pretty good on the roam clear anyway, but they really need to commit. They really need to push SilentFamily around, and they need to corral them into these kill zones that they're good at setting up. SilentFamily, they seem to have learned their lesson. They're not spreading out across the entire map this time. They're going to play a little closer together. They're going to watch a couple of entries, but it seems like they've got 3 people on site all ready to back up their mates.
Learned their lessons, SilentFamily, but are they going to be putting that knowledge to the test? Certainly not. Some damage. Glocka, yet again, bit of a slap on the wrist. Nothing too major. You keep your player alive, and that's what is the most important part. Now, we have still 2 Goyo canisters not deployed from Glocka, which is going to be a bit of a concern. Please place all of your utility down as the strategy hopefully intends. Nice little passive start. We have a minute already passed by, and Goldie's hasn't found himself 3 kills already, which is a wonder. I know, absolute shocker. No things delivered, although we do have a fast approach yet again. MVG going off of these windows. They love playing on the balcony, especially none other than Variox early on that bathroom piano window. But yet again, we have so much ground here, and we have so much to cover. Mercs is going to be standing in your way as he finds the opening onto Hatchie. Right way. You know, this is something that SilentFamily have been really craving for, and it's being hungry for those openings. Although damage is delivered, you don't have that dock, but at the same time, you have some sort of possession.
Yeah, good reaction from SF to the MVG push. They learned first where the attack's coming from, and now they've redirected a lot of their manpower upstairs. Only Hugo downstairs holding the site. They've actually committed now almost all of their manpower up to that top floor because they know where MVG are coming from. But Goldies, they don't know where Goldies is. The intel hasn't gone out about that Goldies on the Ash, looking to pick up Hugo. We're going to see a little more of that storyline coming through now.
Could it be Variox here taking the stars out of the eyes of SilentFamily? Certainly not. Mercs finally showing a performance. 2 kills in. Absolute beauty. We love to give him a single clap right here, but there is more to come, and it is all named out. The name on the bullet is going to be Jugo, and Variox is going to be pulling the trigger yet again. 35 seconds. Slowly counting us down. MVG, we need to be wary of this time, and at the same time, we need to know the position of Mercs. He's been such a bearer of bad news into round number 3. SilentFamily are being completely contested, but at the same time, they're bringing out so much aggression, it's completely uncontestable. Flipper, L2A3, amazing gun, leaving just in a 1v4 scenario. And finally, MVG don't have a response. They do not have a way to back themselves out unless all 4 players of SilentFamily are going to be dropping like bodies, which I doubt is going to be the scenario. Winning out a round 2-1. SilentFamily backing up their talk. Now hopefully they can continue putting the money where their mouth is, as Just finds one, but in the end, it's a bit too late for anything to come out of it.
Yeah, I think that was a really interesting round. And again, it's a strategy round, so everything I said in the pre-game, absolutely disregard it. Really good strategy round, and here's why. We saw MVG, they go upstairs. That's fine. They've got to do their own clear. SilentFamily, they didn't commit everyone immediately to pushing out. They didn't commit everyone immediately to their ones. Go out, win your ones, come back. In these scenarios where MVG could pick them off in their 1s and 2s. What they did is they had a couple of people playing upstairs because you do need to prevent a rush. But then as they saw MVG committing more and more people to that top floor, they in turn did the same. Now, where it was a really good strategic round is that MVG then recognized the game state. You saw Variox and you saw Goldies push downstairs, attempting to trap Hugo and kind of ninja the site from underneath SilentFamily. Just watch the drops at that point. But then Marks woke up. And when someone wakes up in that way, when they pick up those kills in that round, it just changes the dynamic of the round. Really fantastic performance. Not a pull your team out the fire performance. The round was won by a timer, but it was a very deserved win from SilentFamily, clawing it back.
You know it's bad when Goldies has to switch from the Ash to Blackbeard? You know that has to mean something from MVG, that they're ready to finally pull their pants all the way up and
They've
get back.
spent a few seconds on Blitz as well, Bob. They were on Blitz
yeah,
for a second on the
that
repick before they switched back over to Blackbeard.
They're really going for those shields that SilentFamily so despise, and it is comic as it can be. But I mean, that's good. Really using the newly additioned Blackbeard in the meanwhile. At the same time, though, pushing quite quickly, as this is a similar site to Prior's Baron Gaming. Verticality, it's key. Yet again, Variox putting the Bane into the strategy as taking out Goyos and Mutes and Cades alike very early on. Oh, I don't think he can find the K-Claw, but he's going to be onto that Echo drone, finally taking out the Twitch drone for a second time. But a quick push onto Library. We find ourselves some advantage, looking to get that Breach and Fireplace, but at the same time, we can't let this verticality be skipped.
Yeah, a little more Goldies. I think it was Goldies on that Blackbeard actually that took the first map when SilentFamily dropped the upper bracket final. It was a Goldies Blackbeard roam. Just an utter routing of SilentFamily that took map 1 back in that match. So interesting that we haven't seen it before now, but they are absolutely devastating on it. The calls are going out there. They know that there's a player there, but these castle barricades, don't really have an answer for them just yet. It's going to take some time, and I think Blackbeard's more content, Goldie's more content, just to let it happen there. They're going to push through. Here it comes with the shield. That's going to be scary, but they're going to get punished as Glocker utterly unfazed.
Unfazed is going to be also MVG, finally, yet again picking up the leverage. Variox being the Goldies that was on Clubhouse with not 1 but 2 as well, counting up the score. He's wrecking bodies, but Flipper finally returns the fire just for 1, converting it to a 1v3 situation. But we need to transition it down to a 1v2, a 1v1 if nothing else. Long-range gunfights against Hachi is going to be absolutely unwinnable when you're having that SMG-11 on deck, and with it, it's back to MVG's game. They secure a draw at least in the first half, and 2 more rounds remain, meaning they can only go up from here in the first half.
Yeah, falling foul of crossfires there, SilentFamily, and this is one of the things that MVG are really, really good at, where they're so disciplined that they can set up these crossfires, and you've got to be so careful as a defender because after 30 seconds after round start, your rotates, they're not safe, right? You can get picked off from them against an MVG side once they, because they had really good drone for a game there. They knew where all defenders were, and they can just sit and wait. And I think that's really powerful. Blackbeard pick, bit of a red herring, didn't really do anything in the round except maybe corral SilentFamily into these firing lanes.
I was willing to give SilentFamily the benefit of the doubt, still thinking the second they win that round, that 1 round, they were going to continue on to a bit of a streak, get that possibility of a 4-2, but that's gone. We have to be a bit more realistic now. It can either, the best situation for SilentFamily on this defense is going to be a 3-3. Now, that doesn't necessarily sound like the best, but it is what it is. It's all gone by, and MVG already ready to go on the defense themselves. They can lose every round right now, and they still be looking semi-comfortable, but I don't think that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a better match than on Clubhouse. They don't want to repeat that 3-3 draw in the first split. They want a better result. Goldies, oh, the damage is going to be so heavy. No Doc, no Finka to boost you up, but the Echo walking in blinds. What are you doing, Timo? Oh, Justin's going to be claiming his head, as in the meanwhile, Goldie stay alive, but same could not be set for Mercs, as he's going to be another victim for Ryox to claim. So early on, it's been, what, half a minute, and 2 players have already been left. SilentFamily tuned the aggression down.
Poor frags to concede there. That's just a blip. That's just a blip in concentration. Is that, I think. You can't chalk it up to anything. You just got to bounce back from that. But now they've conceded a lot of territory, and you can see here not only a MolotovGang claiming territory in the building, they're all in the they're already looking to egress from Fluke balcony over to get that breach open with 2 minutes remaining. So this top floor roam clear proceeding at a very good place, and here you're going to see the bottom floor breach. That's directly onto site from main. That's going to be the big one. They've got both of those open, nice and early. Hugo going to respond with yet another chapter in his rivalry with Goldies there.
Hopefully he's going to be the one to get the ball rolling right now, because that's what SilentFamily are really hungry for. But are they going to get starved? Or will MolotovGang's head be served on a platter right now? 1 minute and 20 to tell us exactly that. Still having that roaming presence. The Vigil is going to be a very strong operator. Julep just on that top floor secured and got all with a bit of a shield, deployable one if we count it at that. Last minute breach is open yet again. No verticality. We're going for a bit of a one-sided push here, and SilentFamily could be taking it away as that C4 is looking extremely deadly. Impacts on top, very compact, going in close range. Yet again, this isn't going to be an equal gunfight. And oh, that's a swing out from none other than Jugo, missing the Pokeball, but he goes for the run out. It's a risk worth it. Is there any Claymore? No, that was a caution not set up by Variox, and it's going to be working against his favor. Jugo with a second into the round, going to be equalizing it out and getting out with a kill nonetheless. Nothing short of greatness, because this is a way for SilentFamily to finally step up their game. Pinpointing it down, 30 seconds remaining. They're having MolotovGang on a leash. A powerhouse right now. That's what they're showing. A mouthful of cash as they're ready to bring in these kills time after time again. No one able to contest them. There's no Pokeballs that could be there. But oh, heavy damage is brought. The L2A3 as well, as Justice is going to be taking a heavy load of damage. Not heavy enough to shut him down, because Glock is going to be finalizing the thought. All left down to Hatchie as 10 seconds remaining, and MVG absolutely no response. A beautiful shot. A flick to the left, but it won't be good enough for the second time as Jugo there. That Boss G really putting those slug shots into the body of the Gridlock.
Big round. Huge round for Yugo's confidence there. Yugo, they've been kept very, very quiet in this first half so far, but then to bounce back and pick up, I believe that was a 3K there. That's very, very good for their confidence. They're going to be really vibing off the back of that. I think maybe a bit of an unfortunate one in terms of the diffuser, like choosing who to have on the diffuser. Had it been on Osa, they probably could have started planting behind their shield, but that's not how it worked out in the end. They were actually kept from planting because the diffuser was still outside the breach. The swing, SilentFamily, we've seen them swing unsuccessfully, but that was a really successful one. At that point, with I think maybe 10, 12 seconds left on the clock, you've got to be so quick and so disciplined not to panic a little bit in that scenario. We saw the panic. We saw the second frag come through, and then it was down to Hassie, who unfortunately couldn't clutch up. 3-2 as we go into round 6.
It took SilentFamily about 4 or 5 rounds to actually learn their lesson, but we're happy they're actually getting to it. We saw that Variox was so strong holding these cut downs on the windows, be it balcony, be it outside the site itself. The Boshi, the shot, really good reaction. And at the same time, it was absolutely fantastic to see them bring it back for one more round. And then we're going to have the exact same result as we had it earlier. For some context, there's going to be a bit of a round replay having in the background because there seems to be a skin protest. So as it's all going down, I mean, talking about what just happened, this was absolutely fantastic. Really happy that SilentFamily managed to pull it together. At the start of the round, I thought for it to be impossible. A 5v3, losing 2 major players so early on, absolutely devastating. But they took the blow and they got back up, finally returning it, and in the meanwhile, dealing an even stronger blow, a real strong hook. And I mean, they stood on ground. They definitely stood on it, and they kept it all down to business. With it, though, SilentFamily, one more round. It's either that as much as I don't like to say it, MVG go 4-2 and then onto the defense, which is going to be extremely hard to play against, especially because it's that heavy of a burden on one shoulder, playing not only on the attack, but again, like you said, Delta, earlier, you are behind and also trying to catch up. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I think maybe unfortunate for round 5 as well. Sorry, for round 5? Didn't know round 5 were playing. Unfortunate for SilentFamily that we are going to see that round kind of rescinded from the record, struck from the records. But in terms of mentality, I think ESA they can take a lot from that. They're going to go back down to 3-1, but they've got the confidence from saying, you know what, actually, yeah, we can make these frags, we can hit our shots, we can take this team, kind of the distance on a map where I think historically they've struggled a little bit. This is MVG's pick, not SF's, but we are seeing that round get struck from the record. The mentality doesn't, though. Is the key point there, Bob. The mentality doesn't. They won that round. They dominated that round, and that's what they'll take forward. It'll be interesting to see how the strategies change, though, won't it? Because it's a bit of a weird opportunity to see that when you have a round struck from the record in that way, do you play the same way if you're an attacker who you've just lost a round, you've protested it, a skin has been found to be illegal, so you get it replayed? Do you approach it the same way? Do you adapt? If you're defense, do you commit to doing the same things?
Yeah, What I have been seeing though is that while those SilentFamily on their defense are looking strong, they're really having to step up the act because it's all or nothing in the end of it all. MVG, they're losing out on the strengths they had and are not carrying over what they had on Clubhouse. We talked about strong droning. We talked about really proficient aim. And while though at the very early stage of the game, they have been showing it, it's been kind of dropping off into the second half of the first half, if we say it like that, the second quarter, if we quote it like it. Like with the droning, people swinging out from corners that we have no information on and going in blindly at the same time cutting corners. It's not the best way, MVG, and we need to back up our talk because if this continues on to defense, I think SilentFamily are going to have a go at you just like you did with them on Clubhouse. And the wavelength is slowly getting disrupted, mostly because of MVG. I mean, the information coming in is a bit at an all-time low. At the same time, I talked about the droning, but also the chemistry, positioning. We have people split apart way too much. We're not taking these major advantages of verticality. Although we did have in the prior round the ESA upstairs, yes, with the shield, it was all fantastic. Once it came down to that 3v3, you're forced back down. And with it, if anyone decides to go up back from the defense side up to that verticality yet again, you're screwed. You need to take what strengths you have and really put them to the test.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. They just need to play to their strengths and need to bounce back, don't they? We are going to be getting back into it. So that protest has now been it's been completed. All the players back in the lobby. Round 5. Man, this feels like deja vu, doesn't it? Round 5, 3-1 for MVG as we get started here. I'm not seeing too much differentiation in the lineup so far. Hugo was playing the Vigil, and they will be committing to the Vigil again, which wasn't working for them until that round, until that absconded round. It wasn't working for them. But then they woke up, picked up a 3K, so it'll be interesting to see if they can replicate that now.
Honestly, I think as long as SilentFamily, even though this protest was supposedly against them and they did skip out on winning that round, I think this is going to be still working out in their favor just a bit, and I'm mostly focusing on, yet again, those two players that were lost very early on. You go in for these dangerous swings. While though we do love the gambling play, and while you do want to go to the casino to hit a jackpot, it most of the time doesn't happen. And that's where you shouldn't really think, or you shouldn't really play off of raw gameplay itself. You should think about the if situations. If you go into a gunfight, what if you lose that player? What if you lose both of those players? Is it worth risking that round for your team to maybe just have a deficit of 1 or 2 above? That's where it really comes into consideration. And although with how MVG's consistency has been on 5v3 situations, at least, yet again, I'm pointing my finger towards that prior round, SilentFamily still taking those risks is definitely not worth it, and I'm hoping that they can be a bit more consistent themselves.
Yeah, they have to maintain that long hold outwards, but they allow Goldies to get in and just also going to pick up frag themselves. Hugo, they'll replicate what they did last round by adding another chapter in their little rivalry. So that's 2 round 5 eliminations for Hugo v Goldies, 4v4, and MolotovGang, they're being held a little bit more than they were when we last played that round. They're being slowed down significantly more.
Right, this is a bit better. Better start. Can we continue it through? Each team, the first one to pick it up, I think, is going to be having the narrative in a situation such as this. Yet again, though, it's all down to who picks up the pen better, who starts to write that story faster, and who's more proactive. Still seeing that Ryox on the window. Man, he really likes playing off of that balcony. He feels comfortable, doesn't need to enter site, just cuts off rotations, goes for swing information, and finds picks. It's as easy as it is for him, and in the meanwhile, making his way into very close confrontation is going to be just finding Glocka. Can he find another peeking out? Oh, Jugo, what are you doing? It's expected. And a third one as well, just with a quad. And this could be an ace he's looking for. 1 minute and 30, and I think it's not going to be happening as Variox shuts it down right before his very eyes. I was hoping the team cooperation would be all right. You know, just you go in. We're going to handle the 3v1 if you lose, but they're not risking it. Smart plays as MVG claim out SilentFamily. That protection working with them very nicely, and now it's at least 4-1, maybe even a 5-2 or a 4-2, maybe even a 5-1 if it goes MVG's way.
Genuine, absolute, unmitigated agony.
Yeah.
One person dies in the doorway. A second person dies in the doorway. If you're the third person, Don't go in the doorway. It's very simple. It's very simple. Like again, like lemmings from a cliff, and that happened in the round that did get protested, where we saw, I believe it was Timo getting fragged out without looking at where they're looking. It's it's one of these things you've got to be a little more focused, I believe, when you're pushing when you're defending like that. Maybe the mentality was shaken somewhat as they went through, but yeah, that's a round that didn't need to go that way. They were doing well to start off with by not conceding daft frags to MolotovGang, but then to line up in a doorway and just get popped and allow just to do that to you, man. That's not a good sign.
It really isn't. It's playing a bit too predictably, SilentFamily. I was really trying to sugarcoat it when I said they still have a chance. That chance is slowly fading away for me personally. MVG really rolling the dice and having a higher number count each round going into them. Already having their eyes set on the prize as of current, though, pre-fires from Ryox, just showing that his game sense is really on point, pinpointing every single player that could be standing in his way. Round 6 now underway. This is going to be the last one before we swap roles, as of course MolotovGang, if this goes your way yet again, 5-1, absolutely brutal, and then you're on the defense as well to chuck it upon that. It's going to be a sandwich of glory because you just keep on racking these pieces, these lettuce, you call it, cheese. It's going to be delicious. But in the meanwhile, though, round 6, yet again, aggression from SilentFamily. Hopefully not as predicted as earlier, but still looking forward to a great round.
And that's how you start it off. That's how you start it off. Hugo picking up a lovely frag over onto Ryox. They're going to take the Twitch off the board. Twitch. Ryox really doing well to cut off these rotations, as you said last round. Well, that's what they do. They cut off the rotations. They stop SilentFamily from moving around freely. Aina gonna pick off Hugo's reloading out of cover. A little bit of a misplay there from Hugo, not to keep their weapon up and primed ready at the enemy, but there we go. They'll get punished for that, as Hassi will go on to punish Timothy. And here we go again, as the team, they keep collapsing. They keep running through the same door into the same crosshairs.
And they're going to keep on doing it until it eventually works, but in the end, it works for 1, not for 3 that MVG have capitalized off of you swinging that exact same doorway. No, don't let it happen. Baka right now on the SMG-12, letting himself be no shots are there, not much damage, but does finalize the thought onto Hassi. 2v1, it could be possible. Yet again, we've seen this traditionally and come about religiously as the winner being the one in the deficit swinging around from bathroom. It's very unprecedented for someone to swing out this aggressively, but you have to watch out for that window player. Anyone swinging about behind you right now, your 6 could be covered. Plant is going down. Oh, the gridlock tracks did reveal him, but in the end, it's going to be Goldies finalizing the bullet right into the chrome dome of this final player, approaching quite cautiously, even expected by the Vigil, still winning out the gunfight nonetheless. And I can't believe I'm saying this, Delta, but it is going to be a 5-1 split for MVG, also heading towards defense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it could have been so different. But they had some really good momentum off the back of round 5, but then, that was lost. And it's simply because they took, the illegal mute skin. And that's incredibly disappointing, I think. And I do wonder if maybe any momentum that they garnered from that, it completely broke their focus. Because for the next 2 rounds, yes, MVG are good. Yes, MVG, they play very well. They click on head nicely. But SF, they were running through doors at them. They weren't even, not even ADS'd. Not even with their weapon up and ready. Just straight charging through doors where they've seen their friends go down. You know what I mean? Siege is a really difficult game at times, but what makes it easier is when people run onto your crosshairs. And it's one of those things which SilentFamily, they really need to take the split as an opportunity to reset that mentality, reset where they are, and try and claw something back. Because I do fear, and I suspect this isn't an unpopular thought, I do fear that if they go 2-0 down in the series, that might just be too much of a mountain for them.
SilentFamily may not be the best at winning rounds, but they're certainly perfect at exercising the gun range for MolotovGang, as they've really shown that they can throw bodies at times. The score definitely being there as well, and being critical is what we need to do here, Delta. I mean, 5-1, we need to step up our game, SilentFamily. We don't want this to be a flawless in the rounds count for MVG, because if it ends up being a 3-0, I mean, this is not going to be that close-sided match we were expecting. No, it's going to be domination, bullying even. MVG, though, and again, they're on the defense right now, sitting comfortably back. Long angle from the Ash. I do like Jogo's thinking, but at the same time, at one point, we're going to have to approach site. Going off of windows, throwing nades to get rid of castles. I guess it's a faster approach without a doubt. Peeking out with the Baji is going to be unsurprisingly Goldie's looking to find himself a bit of a clip to put on Twitter, but still taking risks right now. MVG can do that. SilentFamily, on the other hand, they're one round away from being down to the wire.
Yeah, a minute down. We're not seeing too much in the way of a roam clear happening so far. We're not seeing them hitting their attacking milestones. By this point on this site, you know, MolotovGang had opened both top and bottom breach. Now, they did lose that, or now absconded round 5, but they set up their attack incredibly well. We're another 40 seconds later than that, and we're only just getting to do top, which I believe has been prevented by a mute channel. That'll get popped, and now the breach will come through with 120. So in terms of attacking milestones, they're not quite there, but they are making progress. They need to speed this up above. This pace isn't going to cut it, because they still need, after this, to go downstairs and do it all again.
We should have seen the progress speed up already in map number 1, but it's just going down. Jugo finally returning 1, but you lose out on that thermite due to a C4, meaning I believe the main breach on Fireplace is completely denied. Done and dusted. Having to play off of guns, though, it's going to be MVG proving to be that difficulty that you cannot withstand to. SilentFamily getting out with a kill, but none other than that just isn't going to be the best one to find as well. There's so much more aspects to SilentFamily right now, as they do find another Glock gun. Great shot through that wall, finding Vario and that head, hunting them all down. We have 3 more remaining, but we need to count them down. Pre-firing yet again. It's going to be the lack of information that will be the thorn in your side. A second swing up for Hatsi. He finds it, and yet again, in the end, it's going to be Goldies with that Posh G. 1 shot is all that's needed, and 1 more round to claim out map number 2. MVG still quite being dominant and more persistent than ever than SilentFamily right now, having nothing set up for them, as they're just looking to lose it out.
God, that was a nice C4, wasn't it? Oh, what a lovely C4 to deny the Thatcher breach. Thatcher breach? Thermite breach. There we go. Let's not make things up. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's one of these things, you know, because of the pace of the game, not being able to set up verse, that meant that MVG, they were very free just to sit next to that wall and prepare to throw that C4, prepare to get that ready. Had they taken control sooner, had they timed it a little better, and kept MVG off balance, they maybe would have had a much better time in trying to do that, but they didn't. And so MVG, they were set, they were prepared, and they're able to pick up what was, I think, was a very key frag and the beginning of the end for SilentFamily in that round. 6-1, MolotovGang. They're now 4 rounds in a row going forward against SilentFamily, so they're doing exceptionally well in terms of momentum. They're doing exceptionally well in terms of the game state. You know, 1 more round, they go 2-0 up in the series. They're playing some damn good Siege. Where do you go from here, Bob? Because SilentFamily, they've now got to attack this top site, and this one is a real tough nut to crack if you can't coordinate. You've got to be able to push from a couple of different angles.
Oh my god,
Oh.
you did not just do that! No TCSG, no nothing. Raleigh going in for that spawn peek. I know he practiced that in quick play or ranked, but it worked out for him gracefully as Timu is taken off early. That's going to be the nook. And to kick a man while he's down, you know what they're playing right now, Delta? MVG is playing the Clash. So they went from the attack having Blackbeard over to the Clash shield on the defense and really wounding up SilentFamily as they continue down this path of victory. Not only claiming the opening, not only shutting down, delivering more damage, but also the second Variox. More bullets are delivered, although returning to finally SilentFamily step up to the task, really breaking more. But how are you going to break through this line of defense, and how are you going to get past this terrifying shield operator?
Yeah, we know that MolotovGang, they've employed Clash really well. SilentFamily have struggled against Clash. Now they're going to be taken down to a 3 versus 1 in an entirely suboptimal scenario for them. They'll try and get the long beat. They'll pick that up. Double kill for Mercs, but they've got to deal with a Clash and a gold. He's absolutely prolific fragger there. Mercs, do they rotate? Do they commit to this? They've got all the time in the world to do what they need to do. They don't have all their HP in the world, Bob.
Oh, no, they don't. Goldies, it doesn't matter if he loses out on this. What's the worst part of it? Ane can simply hold M1, and there is nothing Mercs can do about it. You can't get past the Clash. The second this operator knows where you are, it is a certified, let me tell you, death sentence. Especially because with that HP encounter, you have nothing you can do. You can throw all the flashes you want, but it's gonna slowly get ticked off, and it would be comical to see the Clash kill. Oh my god, not even chasing it through though, finally coming behind. The Clash savoring, being very humble about it. Verticality is attempted, but slowly following. The Clash is shadowing besides this bug as 1 minute remains for good old Mercs to find any type of retaliation, any type of path to victory right now. And this is a nightmare. He's in a horror movie. He is the main character of it. No, don't let it happen. No, please. It's gonna be Ane zapping him till the very end. Electricity being the final kill. And with none other than it's gonna be MVG winning out on map number 2. At the same time, it is a 7-1. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it's such a sad way to go out, isn't it? But that's why they bring it. You know what I mean? And they brought it right at the end. I think that was the first time they brought it through the whole map so far. And man, oh, that Clash play. They're just really, really good at it. There's no real other way to say it. They're just really, really good at it. And that's it's a very difficult one to try and try and counter just because of the sheer capability that they've got there. Especially when you're alone, especially when you've then got Goldies as backup, you're not really winning that. And it's just the latest in a cacophony of failures for SilentFamily. They've now lost 5 rounds on the trot. They've lost any momentum they've had. They are now going to go into their own map pick, but man, what a mentality hurdle to try and climb. 2-0 down in the series, Bob. But as with last time, it's not going to be our beautiful faces. So, as I think Whiskey said, our gorgeous voices, which will be analysing this for you. That's going to be our wonderful team of analysts who will take you through this map.
Map 2 has wrapped up, and it has been a holiday treat to remember. One team left to trail a gift-wrapped victories, while the other is hopefully ready to bounce back and bring that festive fight to the next round. The stakes are higher than ever, and Map 3 on the way promises to be a holiday showdown. This is far from over. Run. Same strat, new map. Unafraid of conflict, unafraid of swinging, unafraid of putting pressure and taking space. Walk us through how timing and tempo has, of course, been the leading factor in the scoreline here.
Yeah, you talked about it. And Delta started off this map saying the same thing. These guys must have trained with SEAL Team 6 because MVG came out swinging on map 2. And it was really the same, very similar playbook that they had on Clubhouse. Aggressive entry on attack. They won most of those fights, leaned into a little bit of utility, but also played aggressively on defense too, spawn peaks and pressure on SilentFamily as they even tried to get near the map and completely shut them down. We thought we might see a few extra rounds coming out of SilentFamily, but right now it looks like MVG is looking for a speed run on ESA final here, trying to find the only 3-0 victory that this league has ever seen.
Man, okay. So Mighty, here it's break it down to you. Kind of touched on it after map number 1, but know thyself. Is that this issue with the SilentFamily team?
I will definitely have to say none of the issues provided by SilentFamily on map number 1 have been concluded and figured out on map number 2. As a result, hey, we gotta break it to you. It's a little bit unfair to say the way against SilentFamily because we know for a fact they are a good team. They fought their way fair and square into this final, but there's so many lacking points. They're not showing up for themselves. As I mentioned before, going into the very first map, they need to show up for themselves like they did against LDL to have a standing chance against MolotovGang. And there are so many lacking points, unfortunately. They are losing 1v1 fights. They're giving so many 1v1 fights to MolotovGang. And yes, of course, SilentFamily is a very well mechanical, good based team, but Molotov is not in the peak of being any touch lower. They're taking these 1v1s as a gun, and Molotov has always the favorite in position, especially both in attack and also a little bit more in defense, to have one guy standing up close alongside you to help you out. So you immediately turn a 1v1 scenario to a 2v1 scenario in the face of Molotov. And that is just winning out these gunfights, these first interactions that SilentFamily always plays against Molotov. Another big thing is the late round. They're still losing a lot of time, so they are always going for these late round executes. And in these late round executes, I have the vision and also the option of saying, I have the thoughts that they are lacking on intel. They don't know where the last opponent, where the last defenders are standing. They don't know if there's one guy crouched behind the display. They're very often like they're getting blindsided out of nowhere. It's very unnecessary, and I would say they're just losing too much time to get that final last drone in from the approach angle that you want to approach from, and that way you're just getting blindsided whatsoever round for round. And that is one of the biggest key impactors that is definitely hurting your gameplay. Another game thing is because you're using so much time for the first entry because you're getting met up high by Molotov, not getting you any free accesses, meaning as well, you have to immediately fight for your entries. You lose those entries and then you stall because you're afraid of losing one more guy, losing and just falling off in the matter of advantage for how many operators you still have remaining to force and play against. And I don't know what SilentFamily should and wants to do, because now they're with their backs completely against the wall. It's a 2-0 against them in the favor of maps. They have to win all 3 maps back now on flawlessly, more or less, to have a standing chance of saying, okay, we can take this title. And against Molotov, a team that looks so fairly good, so well prepped for SilentFamily, I don't know if that is possible. I gotta say that way. There are so many things that they gotta adapt upon, and I don't know if they will make it through in this third map.
Okay, well, we got to get to it. Consulate bringing you a large map, bringing you more of that in your face action. It's back to the beautiful voices of Puffo and Delta as they're going to walk us through map number 3.
Whiskey giving us a bit of a blush, calling our voices beautiful. I mean, Delta, honestly, we're here to deliver on them. But at the same time, I'm just hoping that SilentFamily can actually back up their talk for once. Don't let this be a 3-0, please. We don't want this to be such a short grand final. We're here for the action, and we're hoping that this 7-1 fashion, tradition, religious acts, whatever you may call it, hopefully does not transfer over for the third map. Yet again, though, Delta, what are we expecting out of SilentFamily here?
Well, this is their map pick. If they're gonna respond, and they need to respond. This is it has to be here. There's no other option. Your back's against the wall. This is potentially the last map of the tournament. The only ones who can control that are the 10 players on the field. It's gonna be a difficult one. It's gonna be rough. We're gonna see. We're gonna have to see a bit of a mentality swing from SilentFamily if they are gonna pull it out. Ever since the rehost, ever since the protest, they've just not looked like the same team, have they? It's been very, very difficult. I think we're going to see Clash get banned out again, purely because of how that last round ended. You can't. I just don't think you can leave it to chance, because if there's a clash on the field late game, late in the round, I don't think you can leave that on the board. I don't think you can give MVG the option to have that incredibly, incredibly strong, incredibly strong operator in the hands of Ina or any of the others of them. Multiple people played it last time they played SilentFamily with the Clash. You can't leave it on the board. So I do think they need to take that. I think the Intel operator bans weren't as powerful as maybe we saw. We still saw both teams have intel on the other, one team acting on it, maybe a little more than the other. But the big thing, the biggest thing, Bob, they can't go running like lemmings into doorways, okay? And I'll say that maybe a bit distastefully, it's maybe a bit harsh, but they just need to remember their fundamentals, okay? For elements there, honestly, I thought they were playing Call of Duty, mate.
You could call it Call of Duty, you could call it CS2, whatever the case is. We have one team running into the other, and of course, MVG being a bit more of a utility-based team, they can simply just wait. I mean, it is the way of saying that being cautious and at the same time being very slow paced doesn't tend to work out at times, but it is for MolotovGang as they can not only intercept any gameplay or any strategy intended by SilentFamily, at the same time, they can just be patient. Patience is key, and they've unlocked the door to 2 victories, 2 maps. At the same time, they look for a third to quickly finish it off as quickly as possible as we head to Consulate. First ban is going to be Nook, which is not that surprising seeing how large of a scale this map tends to be. Brava yet again following shortly after. I'm going to go off of the consideration that yet again, Intel, all of it is still very strong on Consulate. But again, like you said, Delta, both of these teams can work themselves to the bone with a supposed Valkyrie, Brava, Azami, any Intel Gatherer, or just simply going by the basics with those drones.
Yeah, you saw them. They picked that operator immediately. They knew they were going to ban that. They didn't stop and have a little chat. Like, the ban phase there for SilentFamily's second pick, it started, and boom, the timer went straight down. Now, that only happens when all of them pick it. When it's a unanimous vote, it goes right the way down, and boom, they took Vigil off the board, which means that MolotovGang, they will have access to Clash. Now, how effective can they make it? That's the question on Consulate. Consulate, ever since the rework, it's one of those maps where it can be a little bit of a nightmare to try and hold. There's so many different angles that a very minor twist, sideways or away from a particular doorway for Clash, it can open their back, their spine up to a different angle. It depends on whether SilentFamily can establish those angles. We've seen so far that MolotovGang, they're very good both at defense in depth and at collapsing inwards on themselves. This map, it's one of those where it can be very roam heavy because of how clustered, how tightly packed these rooms are. You've really got to be absolutely on top of it with your droning and with your roam clear game, Bob. We're going to see them go to the top floor first. This is going to be good, I think.
I think this will be very decent going in for SilentFamily. I'm just hoping that they get some sort of a decent first half, because earlier it wasn't looking good. That one round, potentially the second round, if they did keep that mute skin off, would have been great, but we're already past it. What can we do now? Hopefully a reverse sweep is going to be working in their favor, because that's all they can count on. Either 3 rounds in a row or win some, and in the meanwhile lose everything else. MVG still, though, ready to be consistent, ready to keep up that pace, that tempo, and have the wavelength in their favor, as of course they're on the defense yet again, it isn't as defense sided as expected, but this map is 55% defense sided, so yet again it's a bit better to be on it. And at the same time, MVG have proven to us countless of times that they can really work their strategy while also being very flexible on any operator, any situation given. So although being quite aggressive, 1 minute in, no kills dropped, and we're ready for just a bit of initiation.
Yeah, a bit of a slow opening start here. SilentFamily struggling to really make inroads into the building. They're going to start to egress now. Flipper over on the window. Hugo opposite window, but it's going to be just who picks up the first kill. That's going to be onto Glocker. That's a big kill. Glocker's really been kind of, I think, the glue behind the SilentFamily engine. You know, the fuel that it runs on so far in this game. They are going to start opening up these angles, getting ready to set up a push, but you can see that defense in depth. They've just pulled back. They don't need to challenge it. They've wasted the time already, have MVG.
Glocka finding himself the first one to be buried, certainly not the last. Yet again, this is where it starts slowly heating up, very early on, but yet again, this is going to be map number 3. A potential last if MolotovGang play their cards correctly and SilentFamily doesn't have any trump cards hidden up their sleeves. Still, though, slowly counting us down. It seems like time really has stopped with how slowly these contestants are going, but ready to break anything in their path. We're just looking for that crack in the armor right now, SilentFamily, as we haven't found much succession even into this early game. Already losing out on the Ash? Fine. You know, it's the entry factor. We haven't lost much capabilities, but it's going to be just continuing that sentence. He keeps it bringing. There's going to be no comma at the end of it because he is the one to bring out that second pick. Yet again, Doxtim's being very useful. And he just can't stop. He is on a search and on a mission to find himself the 3rd, the 4th, and yet again a possible possible ace for him. This is the second time we've seen it. Earlier was on Chalet on the off floor, finding himself a quad, yet again doing it, but in the end, sadly finding no success in it. He's going to get shut down quickly after, and although 4 players still remain for MVG, as SilentFamily will not be having much of a response.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it was interesting. It was. I've got a question in my notes there, which was it slow or was it disciplined? And I think it was disciplined. It was a very disciplined one. But do you know what? It was both, because it was just a little too slow. And at the end, they didn't have the time to actually drone ahead. They didn't have the time to check their corners. And that's where just really just inserted themselves into the game. They really just turned around and said, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna go ahead and kill the whole team. So, it's one of those scenarios where, again, MVG are really good at setting the tempo of the game. SilentFamily, I think, on their day, can be a better team. We saw them in their last game in the lower bracket decider. We saw them go right ahead and beat the best team in the competition, the number 1 seed, the one that everyone thought was going to take glory for themselves. And it just didn't happen. So it's an incredibly bizarre one, I think, because if they can nail down on this discipline, if they can do things a little more fast, we'll probably see things change around for them. But as it stands, you can't drop 4 to just. You can't drop a quad kill like that by running through the same places. You just can't.
It's very unfortunate for Just. We have 1 round and we're already having a rehost, so that beautiful 4-1 KD he racked up in the first round is just going to be erased. We're going back to 0-0 with 1 round 1 as if nothing happened, and MVG gained a bit of a spotlight in the start. But even with it, it's yet again that influential side that we keep letting these players get away with such plays, allowing people to entry very easily, having so much openings. Where are we closing the gaps, SilentFamily? We haven't been doing it for a lot. Although in Clubhouse, I can really say that they did seem to have some sort of opportunity, some potential to actually have a good fight against. In the end, I mean, Chalet was lost, and if Consulate is going to be going the same path in a similar direction, I don't see them having any way of potentially bringing out a victory here. SilentFamily, yet again, so many openings, so many people playing off of each other, but no crossfires. No people actually going off of information. Yet again, we saw one of these players just go towards long desk, hoping that there's no one there. But you can't play off of hope. This is Rainbow Six Siege. You need tactics and you need information. That's a key going into a match, especially a competitive match such as this.
Yeah, and they've not had them for a long time. Momentum-wise, MVG have now basically taken a full half a game off of SilentFamily in a row. 6 rounds on the bounce, completely unanswered. And in those, there's been some absolutely, more than dominant, just a different league kind of rounds. I, I think if you're SilentFamily in this little rehost period that we're going through, this is maybe where you need to have a chat with amongst yourselves and say, what's going on? You know, no one wants to finish second. I think second is maybe the worst place you can finish, because you're oh so close, and you've proven, in yourselves, and you've shown others that you can compete at this level. But it's falling off. It's falling off today, and they really need to re-understand why. And that it's sad in a way. But they do need to hopefully they can pull it back.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's a game, a bit of a tug of war they're having, and they're completely being thrown to the other side of it. And my question is, I mean, are SilentFamily here shooting themselves in the foot? A tiny bit. They definitely have these plays where they can really scoop out
Yeah.
a round if they want to so. But what I haven't been seeing, Delta, is the tactical timeouts. Am I in the wrong here? Or are they not allowed? Because we have not been seeing a single one. MVG, they don't need them. I understand why they haven't been using them, because their tempo has been consistent. They've been having the adrenaline surge pump through and through and through, and they've been able to get round after round back to back. But for the side of SilentFamily, pull it out the second you see 2 rounds in a row lost, 3 rounds in a row lost. Is that not an indication to reset the tempo, get it back to how it was, and have it be on the similar ground stays? Because without it, I mean, tactical timeouts are free. There's nothing you lose besides an easy talk between you to maybe cool off a bit and then get back into the game with a potential victory.
Yeah, it's one of those where they really do need to have a chat amongst themselves. They need to take that time, and I think maybe perhaps in this moment is where they'll be doing that. Obviously, we had the rehosted round last game. Maybe they utilized that, but even if they did, they had that extra bit of time to to chill out, to relax. It didn't actually come through in any way for them, because they then went on to lose 3 rounds unanswered and lose the map. So tactical timeouts, they can be a bit of a mixed bag because it's not just down to, oh, we can have a chat and we've reset and we're fine. It's got, as a team, you've got to have that kind of mentality where you can have that chat, you can be honest with each other and say, listen, this is what's going wrong, and then from that take positives. If it's if you're not a team that can do that, you don't do them. If you are, then you do. But I think it's one of those things where it's intensely personal to every single team. No two teams are the same in terms of how timeouts affect them.
Where I start losing track of SilentFamily is that MVG, you said coordination. They're strong with their strategy, listen to the IGL, and they're really coordinated well. For SilentFamily, I see the potential how they could do that. They can definitely work along, and although as much as I love seeing this crafty creation where they go about their own ways, in the end, simply sticking by the book would be probably bringing about a better result than it has up until now. Go by the strategy. Don't try to overcomplicate things by swinging out with random corners. Keep it safe and keep it down to earth. At the same time, though, MVG have been doing that, and we can see how it's been working out for them. They're strictly down to it. They're nicely sticking it out and just working with what they're given. SF, I mean, I don't know what's happening, but yet again, we don't want to sugarcoat this as much as we'd love to be on your side and say, yeah, you got this. We still believe in you. It's 2-0. Consulate, this first round was basically a flawless with just getting another quad kill because he was allowed to by you, and it isn't looking any better continuing onto the possible decider.
Yeah, it's yeah. This is the decider. This is it. This is the it's make or break time, really, isn't it? Difficult one, very difficult one for SilentFamily. Very strong gameplay so far, but it's not one where I think we can say they've put across a good account of themselves so far. Sad. We are going to let them take a bit of an. We are going to let them take a little bit of an extended timeout. We are going to go to a little break now. I think you've heard our dulcet tones long enough. Scramble for things to say as we try to get the lobby back up and running. It is 1-0 when we rejoin, but for now we'll be taking just a little break. Stay here. We'll be right back. And we're back. Rehosting is complete. We're back in the game. Round 2, 1-0 to MolotovGang. And now it's time to SilentFamily to prove to us all once again that they belong here after a very, very strong performance in the lower bracket grand final. Here they are. They're 2-0 down in the series. They're 1-0 down on the map. They've lost 6 rounds in a row. They've got to show us something, bud.
They definitely have to. The party isn't over, and they got that invitation for a reason. It may have been a close call over towards Clubhouse, not the same towards that second map, where we're looking for success in the third one. SilentFamily, you can definitely bring it back. Just like Delta said, lower bracket was your game. Why not bring that into this grand finale? Because this is where you can prove that you are simply fit to be here. One round is just a joke. This is not something that you need to take into consideration seriously. It would be delightful to see that one round back. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, 2 for a split. Whatever the case is going to be, round 2 is now here. We're going to this downstairs first floor or like mid-floor, bottom floor side, which is really surprising, honestly. MVG yet again having a bit of an unprecedented side, just like Bar on Clubhouse, but they seem to be knowing and knowledgeable on what they're doing, definitely comfortable in it is, and hopefully SilentFamily are ready to answer their call.
Yeah, we'll go down to the split site. Very unconventional one. Again, it's one of those ones similar to what we saw MVG do back on Clubhouse, going to that kind of bar games area, bar stage area. they're going to choose an unconventional site, one where if you're in quick play, if you're in ranked, it's a pure anathema. You stay away from this, but you can practice for it in comp. You can scrim for it and be ready, as we see some stellar droning there from SilentFamily staring at a concrete wall. They need to pick that up. They need to pick up their intel game. They've dropped off a bit since beating the #1 seed in the competition, LDL. They haven't been droning too well. They've not been finding where these members are, encircling them, and picking them off on V1. What they're going to do now, they're going to start moving on to this first floor, not bothering too much with that top floor roam clear. They want to get back into the swing of things ASAP.
Definitely ready to swing out some bullets, and in the meanwhile, get this breach locked in and loaded as soon as possible. Also, the Maverick on the side, but it's going to be Timu. Oh, what a just shot onto Just. Didn't like how the first round went, you know, so he's going to be making sure the second one is even better. Glocka there backing him up. Great way for SilentFamily to swing into the thing, and in the meanwhile, this could be that lead we were searching for. Finally, in the search and, or should I say, lost and found section, they found themselves two. Can we get that third? Maybe get around it. That's what we need. We can't drop the ball right now because MVG are going to be really quick on picking it up. And right now we have it rolling. SilentFamily, let's keep it up. Good picks. Good way to continue from Flipper to Goldies. Hassie does deliver it on to Mercs, but one player lost is not that deficit that you've been looking for because the profit is just unimaginable. You have 2 players left and 4 players on your own. This is a victory that you're looking for. Even though a leave comes out, this is going to be really unfortunate as Ane from behind. That's just going to be a collaboration not only from the Ubisoft servers, but also MVG backing him up. A 2v2 right now. Timu drops down. Hassie's going to be the one to claim him out, and it's all left down to Flipper, the ace, the hard reach. Will he be able to finalize both of these players to deliver that final blow in the 50 seconds we have remaining? Such a great start, but can we pull it to the very end?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, they started so strongly. That first 90 seconds, it was like night and day compared to the rest of the game. Where was that team on Chalet? Where was that team on Clubhouse? But now it's down to Flipper with Diffuser in hand. 30 seconds on the clock to try and clutch in a 2v1 scenario. They're going to reload. They're going to back up from that fight. They need to make every bullet count. But the Legion, they're going to track their movements. They need to win their gunfights if they're going to pick this one up. They're going to try and get this kill. They'll get it. And now, what are they going to do? Are they going to plant on that top floor? The shotgun in hand, they can make first, but it's not going to be needed as the shotgun goes through a pre-made verse, and that'll chop Flipper in half. What a round, Bob. That first 90 seconds, that's a team that we've not seen in this game so far, but it wasn't enough. That delayed roam coming out from MVG, it just chopping down the attack in its entirety. And at the end, the 2v1 clutch, they get the first pick, but that's why Split Sight is so powerful sometimes, because the verse, it's always 2 ways. And SilentFamily, they just weren't able to counter that.
I mean, look at that. SilentFamily finally waking up the beast as Ubisoft themselves had to step in to put it back to sleep. Okay, we're in that position where it's finally getting back on both of those feet. And MVG, although they did win out round 2, SilentFamily finally showing that upbringing. Now, as of current, we still don't know what's happening with the player. Hopefully, he's going to be getting back in time as the momentum is getting very nicely picked back up. SilentFamily, this is your time to shine. It may be the attack, but that is going to be nothing of the matter once you start having those rounds roll in very nicely. Seemingly disciplined, breaking down doors. MolotovGang still upkeeping this really high pedestal position, being an overstep and 12 steps ahead of SilentFamily, or should I say 2 steps, as both the first and second maps are under their belt, still rigging them up. But SilentFamily, we're still on this pause, still waiting for everything to be discussed and see what the players' condition are. Can we get them back in time, or are we going to have another rehost? Hopefully not. Although Delta, I mean, this round was extremely good. It was a very good start, but I'm just looking for that continuation from SilentFamily to actually really confirm what they started out.
Yeah, I mean, they took it the distance, but they still couldn't, they still couldn't finish it. I mean, that's probably the best round that we have seen them play in terms of the communication for quite some time. You saw that push through into the site from the start, where Timothy picked up the first frag. Like, that was fantastic. It used operator effects, it used a little bit of misdirection, audio cues to just make the defenders look anywhere other than the door, and it was really well coordinated. But from there was no follow through. Okay, it was all fart, no poo. There was nothing to it because they took the site and did nothing with it. They did nothing with it, and so that's the part where I've got to really critique SilentFamily, because they pushed through. There was no commit really beyond that point, and from there, the delayed roam the delayed roam from MVG. That's what really took the wind out of their sails. Incredibly unfortunate for them, but it was a good sign, but it's still not enough. We still need to see them get back to what we saw in the lower bracket final. Again, they beat the best team in the competition and they made it look easy. That it wasn't a difficult one for them. They made it look so easy. But here, it's night and day, and I think, to be honest with you, Bob, more so than MVG, they're playing against themselves right now.
And they need to win that victory very soonly. They should have already won it in Clubhouse. Chalet was no problem for MVG as SilentFamily, like you said, fighting themselves, and of course MVG's worded with it. It's too much pressure. Too much to work off of, and right now too much pressure on one's back. Pushing in quickly, though, SilentFamily. This is a very fast approach. Droning out. Verticality established extremely swiftly. This is a complementary gameplay. We love how fast they are at the very start. As long as we can keep this up till the very end, I think SilentFamily are going to be bringing back what they lost out on, and also leaving us with a possible question yet again. Can they do it? MolotovGang still at that bottom floor, really playing it down to strategy and turtle, but we do have some roaming presence around this Visa side, tracking them down. The first time we see the Jackal, and I'm really happy about the operator picks we see from SilentFamily.
Yeah, they're doing really well in terms of setting up vert. They're on a timely sensor scale, but then Hassie's going to pick one up upward through the vert. So it works both ways. Okay, you can't just set up vert and then have that be the be-all end-all. You need to actually go right ahead and use it effectively, and they're just not at the moment. Glocker falling. Glocker been absolutely prolific in terms of how they've dragged the team forward. So that's a big loss to take as well.
Impact from below. Yet again, verticality. You're fighting against it, though. You put it down just for MolotovGang to pick it up and shoot at you from behind. Not the best way of playing to it. Yet again, I don't believe there's going to be a breach delivered on through. But we talk about the breach. Who's going to be denying it? None other than Cade. Just taken out. Aoene follows shortly after. Tibu finds one. A second, a third. Jogo. Nice shots delivered. And yet again, SilentFamily at such a heightened position. Now looking to continue it. Okay, we saw the mistakes from the previous round. We had that bit of a pause and we talked it through. Can we continue it down? 40 seconds remain to tell us exactly that story and how it ends. Is it going to be a bad ending or a good? Demos Tracker in a game where you can go for a refrag match. This is going to be really strong, especially playing against this last set of information. Wallbanks coming through. You know someone's on the side of cafeteria. Flashbangs are out. And Timu, he finds Goldies. That's going to be the hot hand out of SilentFamily in their pocket. One from the right. You don't notice him, and it's going to be Timu swinging out Western style. That revolver in the right hand, and the scope even more beautiful as he finds out the first round for SilentFamily, now finally getting behind MolotovGang just for once and undergoing into round number 4.
Finally, they pick up a round. If you take it from club, they've taken 2 rounds from 14. It's not very it's not very good record, right? But they're picking it up, and that was a lot better. Round 2 and round 3, they've been a lot better than we've seen from them all the way since I would argue the beginning of Chalet. So that's where, it's positive signs. It's not enough yet. You've now got to play essentially perfect siege, not only on Consulate, but if they win here, obviously we then go to Bank, and if they win on Bank, they then have to go and win on Cafe. So we're at the start of what is going to be a bit of a marathon. And remember, these two teams, they've both played 2 maps already. It's tough, it's demanding for these players, but they've started to pull it back together. Remember, this is SilentFamily's pick. This is a map which theoretically they've picked. They want to take the initiative and chase the game here. You would imagine they'd be good to do it. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think every round from now we're probably going to be saying that it's a must-win, because any lapse in concentration, any loss in that forward momentum in terms of round count, is going to be absolutely huge, and it's going to be multiplied as an effect from MVG.
Approach a bit more slowed down. Could be that dictation we're waiting for from one of these teams. Twitch drone, missing those shot goal. These plays don't ruin the reputation you've set upon yourself with the previous rounds. At Vector, it is close. Closely good to being one of the best guns on close range, but apparently only for players and not drones. 2 minutes 20. Yet again, a bit of an approach. I am really loving those Goyo canisters to shut down anyone trying to interrupt. Although we do have players towards admin side ready to contest you the second you start repelling in. So we have to be very cautious of where we step. Look out from below, looking for verticality. Although we do need to keep in mind that every second wasted could be a second regretted later on into the final few seconds when you go for that execute. Surprisingly, no players have been lost. SilentFamily, we love the drones. This is what is also very nice to see. They actually go for that information, and look how it's working out for them. They haven't lost out on a player, and hopefully the caster curse won't kick in, because as going for those shields, yet again disrupting so much position, and at the same time pushing defenders out of their comfort zone is what SilentFamily are doing best at as of current.
Yeah, night and day. They're doing really, really well here in terms of actually preserving the attack, you know, and setting up for the attack. They're not rushing around. They're not doing anything, you know, daft. They're not running into crosshairs as they were wanting to do over on Chalet. I do argue they need to pick up that pace. That hallway especially, it's so difficult to push people in and around that hallway area. They need to secure that in the next few seconds to try and keep this pace up. And then as the round ticks down, the fact that they haven't also taken any off the board is going to count against them. That timer, that clock, that's going to turn into a 6th defender before too long.
Oh, that's a down onto Mercs. Dangerous territory, you keep him alive, but just bleeding out on the floor. Hopefully the pickup doesn't go against you. No one's swinging out just yet. Grim Bees being at an all-time high. And not only discovering when someone's being too aggressive, but at the same time finding a bit of a kill for kill right now. Although the second one is favoring Flipper, as he does find the buck verticality being really favoring him. Although you have to be worrying once it's brought upon you. Oh, Glocka revealing that arm is going to be the main, but a beautiful flick onto the left, finding the headshot just to bring back what was lost to Timu. Plans going down, Flipper right now in that safe space. Although, do we know that Swoman's pushing up? Timu, beautiful shot onto the head. He finds himself goldies, and it's all left down to Aine. He got himself 2 in the round. 2 more are needed. Double down on it. Or get that defusing time, which is going to be very unlikely with whatever you're presented. Low HP on all 3 players, and yet again, it's going to be the first bullet to deliver the blow to actually have the final shot. Verticality from below. Flipper denying anything, and also the Goyo canister working against you. Your own strategy, MVG, who would have thought? As right now the drone even scouting out. It is absolutely comical as Aine is searching for any type of hope to find himself this defuse. He tries to stick it, but unsurprisingly Timu there, having an absolute blast of a performance into this round, is also the one to put that final bullet into your body.
Where's this been? Where's this been? I mean, that was fantastic. That was a really good attack. It was disciplined. It was controlled. I argued he was a little slow, but they countered that by getting the plant down. The first plant we've actually seen in 3 Mexican gameplays so far. That's what they need to do, and I'm gutted that we've not seen that so far. But that was, I mean, I'm not going to say dominant, but it was very, very close to it because. You know, they got the plant down, they had the man advantage. Aina fragged out a little bit, but they were failed at the end. They used their intel, they used their drones. They got the fundamentals right. And this is the thing with SilentFamily is I still believe fervently that on their day, they'll take anyone, right? On their day, they will take anyone. I keep bringing it back to this. They beat the #1 seed. They bounce back from dropping down to the lower bracket final, something which can be incredibly demoralizing. So we know they've got the mentality, okay? We know they're not necessarily mentality monsters, but they can recover. We know that they can compete against the best teams in the league and try and cement their place as officially the best team. We know they can do it. And I think maybe now, with that 2-round momentum coming through, hopefully they're starting to believe it as well. SilentFamily, they level us up to all. MolotovGang, they're going to take us to the same site. They believe they lost the round more than SilentFamily won the round, contrary to what I'm just saying. So, Bob, who do you think's right?
I don't think it's the question of who I think is right. I think it's who is going to be able to keep on answering these questions correctly. SilentFamily, we love to see it. You said it, Delta. We're having actually an upbringing. This is the only time where I would consider MolotovGang to be under the influence of a needed tactical timeout. But for Ryox, this is something no one should be expecting, but at the same time, we have to play cautiously. He swings out to none other than the heavenly gates of Consulate and finds himself a headshot onto Tumu. Yet again, the Ash player, who has been having quite a performance, specifically looking at the prior round, but in general, really up-putting those frags, now taken off the board. We lose out very early. Yet again, gadgets are still there, so we can go for a nice execute, but not that quickly. Just C4 right below. It may be pre-placed. It may have been set up at the point of entrance. Whatever the case ends up being, he finds it, connects it, and that's a second entry.
Yeah, I do suspect maybe SilentFamily got a little bit excited. That's 2 kills upon entering the building, or like being about to enter the building, and they've just been felled to not quite spot on peaks, but like, you know, just really aggressive defense. Where MolotovGang, they sat back in the last round, they sat back a little bit in round 3. This time they've chosen the concept that offense is the best defense. Variox pushing out, picking up that early kill on Timothy, go looking to win the game before it begins, and now we're in that vertical game scenario, which worked so well for Buck last time, but now it's very much against them in the 2v5 scenario. Marks panicking, looking for the kill. They'll pick off Goyo. Goldie's off the board. That's a big kill to pick up, but they'll back off. Still a minute, still time to go ahead and do as you need to do. The intel's going to go out, but they're going to seal off the Goyo behind them. They cannot be flanked from behind. Flipper will pick up just as they push around, but they're going to get taken down themselves by Aina. And as the swing comes through, Variox, they started the round with Timothy. They'll finish it with Flipper.
The second round for SilentFamily seeming like a bit of a drive-by and nothing more than it. MolotovGang bringing it back for 1, and I'm expecting a 33. At least I'm hoping for it. Going forward to MolotovGang definitely would be working in their favor, seeing as they're still on that defensive, and you know, you make your own bet. But with the SilentFamily, you're going to be having a bit of a rough sleep if you don't get this 3-3. Yet again, having to chase back after these rounds, it seems like the morale really drops when you realize it's spelling bad news for how your score would be considered at the end and how it's going to follow up if you don't change things up. Now, I'm liking the fact that SilentFamily were looking like they could dethrone MolotovGang for just a second, but we need to get back to reality. We need to switch it back to how it was, because MVG yet again take the lead. They have the leverage in their hands, and all they need to do is just adapt for a second. It took them 1 round, and they're back on their feet. Right now, also going to that very surprising site, but at the same time, you know, they're comfortable on it, so who are we to tell them not to play it? Interesting one, also playing off of that verticality that SilentFamily don't like contesting very much. I'm just hoping that this is going to be the same way we played it with SilentFamily earlier, where they had that 4v2, but hopefully no players disconnect, and at the same time, we check our corners and watch our 6.
Yeah, we're going to go back to the split site as well here. Our split site, this is where, you know, this is where maybe the start of that recovery from SilentFamily came out. This is where they started to show those signs of, you know, what they can actually do. With that initial kill, like Timothy, you know, the coordinated push through onto, like, you know, adjacent to that top site, but then they were denied by that delayed roam coming through. The flank cams let them down. Now we've since seen them start to pick up their drone game, pick up their intel a little bit more, pick up their communications. That faltered last round, but they're bringing it back. They lost this site in round 2, but they could very easily have taken it had things just gone this little bit differently. So this is probably about as even as it's going to be, and I think if SilentFamily, based off form, based off how the game's gone so far, can take us to a 3-3 split, that'll be fantastic. Hugo gonna win out against Variox there, not in kills, but in HP, so a positive exchange there.
2 minutes remain. Bit of a push up here. And oh, nice shot from Glocka. I almost thought that was the wall bank. Jugo there, patting him on the back. 3v5. And this is a great lead. This is exactly going according to plan, what we were watching out for, and what MVG should have been cautious about. Showing your feet, though, Jugo. Oh no, the most basic of mistakes. You fell for the oldest trick in the book, and that is getting too close to that castle barricade. Yet again, not having the information if someone's there or not, you risk the potential of losing out on that 2-man lead, which you do end up having caused to you. A lot of damage, nowhere to be seen, besides Hassie, who has dropped down to about 50%. Still a lot of time. SilentFamily really have racked up a quick attack. Now they can execute off of it. They can continue going, not even towards verticality. We see 2 players are on this bottom side, so we could be going towards offices on their own. But yet again, we're going to be contested from down below. So do we really want to push down towards server stairs, or do we want to just flush them out simply like it?
Yeah, very slow as we get into the final stage of this round, Bob. Very slow as we get into the final stage here. The site setup's complete, but now we're just waiting for the execute as they look to start pushing onto site. Now, Glocker, they're going to plant up on the top of the concrete there. They're just going to be out of range of all the C4s. They can't be hit from below as the other kills come out. As the defense starts swinging, Flipper, they'll pick up the last kill, and the team will coalesce around the plant, and they'll protect it, having taken site. Very slow in the build-up. Very, very slow in the build-up. But you know what they did there, Bob? They set the attack up perfectly. And when Glocker ran in to put that plant down, the team was ready. They were holding site. They effectively became defenders with better guns.
And that's where we see that change, right? We saw that they had so much time, over a minute. They were really careful, had some drones behind them to back them up, but at the same time, what was so nice to see is that they took their time prepping up a perfect execute. Go for the plant, watch our angles, make sure that each single way of this going wrong is blocked out of the possibility. SilentFamily, 3rd round in, you're on the defense. This is your chance to strike back as MVG losing out composure and not having those back-to-back rounds no longer, as now it's a game of exchange and it's a game of who can pick it up faster, who can adapt better, and who can work the early game. Each single round, I believe, has been really, I would say, influenced by this first, minute and a half, due to either MVG going off on a spree and finding 2-3 kills, SilentFamily doing the same, or yet again, the one that's on the attack, finding so much ground with so much time remaining for the execute to go off. Unless something goes terribly wrong, we're like just finding himself quad kill after quad kill somehow. But in the end, we're here. We're back to how Clubhouse was, and I would say Clubhouse was decently close. All of the rounds were down to that 1v2, 1v1, and SilentFamily, this is your opportunity to start shining like a star.
Yeah, I think if you'd told me at the start of Consulate that SilentFamily, well, maybe after rounds 1 and 2, if you'd have told me that it'd actually be a 3-3 split, I'd have said, no, I don't see it. But they've bounced back. You know, they've done really, really well. And whatever conversations they've had amongst themselves have worked. Now, yes, we do know that it's, a little bit defender-sided, but they've managed to pull it back to a 3-3. And now they can go ahead, and now they can hold on and invite MVG onto them. This is their map pick. So presumably this is one which which they feel immensely confident on. And you would hope that they're able to maybe pull it out and send us through to a map.
It would be fantastic to see that. 3-0. No one would enjoy that, especially not SilentFamily themselves. But a comeback as huge as this would be something written in history. Even a battle all the way, lasting to that 5th map, would be what brings the tensity and action till the very end. Although we're round 7 in, this is going to be that split of roles that we were looking for, interchanging between them and seeing how that's going to be complementing each team. Defense really has been working out for both of them, as MVG yet again seeming like they're starting to slowly get exhausted out of all of this, and all of this working towards SilentFamily's warm-up. A huge one at that. Yet again, 3-3. Looking for that 4-3, maybe even 5-3. Yet again, SF, it hasn't been the best of success now, but now is the time to prove that there's a reason you're here. Let's see what's happening. Let's see this one last minute break it down. Pushing through, yet again, looking for that surge, that little burst of energy from both of these teams as they go in all out for kill after kill, ban for ban, and at the same time, trying to go for these pre-fires to find themselves nasty picks. Newt could be a victim of a wall bang if he doesn't play this correctly. Your footing, pacing, positioning, it's going to be really important. chemistry yet again coming in as a vital play. Not as much time as earlier, but SilentFamily are approaching in as they haven't cleared it all out completely, but it doesn't matter. Jugo, he's the one to start us off yet again. That shotgun on close range, it's not even to be contested, but Goldie's proves me wrong as Flipper is taking heavy loads of damage. Just follows up onto Glocka, and MVG are bringing it back for one more time. Echo drones, smoke canisters, all is out. It's going to be interrupting this plant as Aine is bringing it down to the final two players. The defense is at an all-time low, but as long as he can tall it out, oh, the Echo, can you do it? One more is remains. He hops up on the roof, and it comes through. Oh no, he doesn't click it. This is back the very night in hand. It's so desperate, but the plant comes through, and that Echo, it seems like it's all for nothing. A 1v1 technically, as the last player is down. Just, it's all up to you. Same goes for Mercs right now. He has had his moments, but this is just not it. Round 7 won out by none other than MVG, and they're back up on having that 1-round lead.
That is heartbreaking. That is genuinely heartbreaking because everything was engineered there to win in a post-plant scenario. Last player up, Echo. They've got a clear line of sight to the diffuser, and it's one of those rounds where you can say they played well because they defended in depth. They defended right up until the timer. They played to their strategy. You can't say that's a bad round from SilentFamily because they did everything right to win it, and it was literally just a fumble, an incredibly unfortunate fumble right at the death, which let the plan go down. And that's what puts the game on its head, because then you've got to take the gunfight as Echo. You've got to take it. And you didn't have to. I think that's maybe indicative of how the game has gone as a whole so far, where SF, they have these absolute flashes of quality where you're like, wow, that is really strong strategizing, that's really good gameplay, and they push MVG all the way, but then at the last second they just falter and they can't sustain it. Genuine heartbreak there.
5 seconds to insertion.
Unfortunate. That's the best way I can describe it. Honestly, I was jaw-dropped. The second the Echo got on that second drone, I thought he clicked. I thought it was through. I thought the shockwave connected and the plant was sure to be cancelled. But MVG just in the nick of time, scraping away, and even in a 1v1, the HP was too low, the information was lacking, and the narrative was simply not working with you, as that was the final nail in the coffin here in that round 7. MVG claim it back, but we have been having a bit of repetition. SilentFamily, they win out a round, that was a 2-2. Then Molotov, they get it back, SilentFamily get it back, and MVG are back up on it. We've had this repetition brought about for some time, and I'm hoping it continues because SilentFamily are looking for it. Although if it continues till the very end, I believe MVG are going to be the one going overtime and then winning out in it, and I doubt that's going to be the case. I think SilentFamily still, yet again, this is the way, this is the map, their space. They have the headspace, they have the composition, but they just need to pull it a bit more extra and at the same time lock in for a bit more longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the kind of performance that really SilentFamily needed back in Chalet. It's a little late in the game for them to be going trading rounds, but for rounds they need to start picking up 1s and 2s in a row, as opposed to just trading rounds back and forth with MVG, because MVG win that in the end, just with the quality that they've got. SilentFamily, they need to really build up a head of steam. They're doing very well, I think, at inviting the attack onto them, but they're really struggling to actually pick up the frags when it comes down to that crunch phase of the game, where they are starting to defend on the site itself. You see the first kill coming down. That's Glock, a big impact player. They're going to go down, and now it's gonna start tightening up. This is gonna be a swing out. No, it's not. They think better of it as the ace fully opens up, but they're gonna go for it, and you go. They fall. They overswing once more. 4-3, 5-3-2. Aina picks up a second, and it's all going a little bit Pete Tongable.
2 words, Solarium door. Not again. Please don't go in for the 4th one. It works. How are they getting away with this? Well, they certainly don't. Goldie's in sight, swinging out to Mercs. Not allocating Mercs. He's going to trade it out for 2 because that's not simply enough. He finishes it off, and now it is going to be 5-3 going in the favor of MolotovGang. Have we not learned our lesson, SilentFamily? Solarium stairs. Chalet, we had 3 people blocking out and peeking into 1 door. And now it happened for the same single breach. even the fourth time, it may have worked out. Yes, you get yourself that one kill, but it's that information, it's that predictable gameplay that really buries you deep. What is happening? This is actually really strictly going towards MVG just because they don't play reckless. I like the gambling aspect. You know, everyone likes a bit of a casino every now and then. But SilentFamily, we're taking it a bit too deep. We are not winning. We are losing this, and we are going into a great loss of money because there are no stacks, no bags to claim here, but only losses. It was such a great time for us to see that SilentFamily actually have got their things together. But now it's seeming like we're back to that situation of how long will it take for MVG to claim it out? Come on, SilentFamily. We've seen you are capable of it. Just please stick it down and get it through, at least on consulate, if nothing else.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought, and it's very unfortunate that I have to say it, but my initial thought when I looked that round was that game. You know, I don't think you can
Attackers objective
be
is
making a
defuse the
mistake
bomb.
like that at any point in a grand final, realistically. Any point in a grand final. But I especially think you can't be making that kind of mistake, those kind of mistakes, when you're behind in the deciding, in what, you know, very well could be the deciding match, and is, as we go through the rounds, increasingly looking like it will be. Oh, that's agony. We're going to go down to basement now. We are going to see MolotovGang. They're establishing a little bit of control up top, but they're not really challenging this middle floor. And one of the big things that SilentFamily have really been struggling on their defensive rounds is challenging the enemy, challenging the attackers of MolotovGang when they do cede space to it, when they do concede territory. You see there, Monty, the shield, that's going to be pivotal, and that's going to affect the Molotov breach into this basement area. Glocker, they're just going to retreat.
SilentFamily seeming like, according even to themselves, they are very comfortable on each map. And that is working against teams that fall for their tricks. But MVG, they can't be deceived so easily because they can simply wait around and find out. And that's what they've been doing. That's what's been working. And now MVG yet again in the position of trying to kick a man while he's down. But it's not just a man. It is entirety of SilentFamily. Not only with that shield operator. The clash could have been possible. It was on Chalet, but we need a Monty still being a strength, a powerhouse of an operator. Look at how menacing he is. He stands in one doorway and has so much pressure put up, and SilentFamily instantly have in their thought and in their mind, we need to take him out as instantly, as fastly and vastly as we can. Swinging out yet again, though, SilentFamily, the drones are coming out, you take him out, but there are no shots being delivered yet. We can sit back, waste time, yet again, bring that pressure to MVG. MolotovGang, they haven't been working with it because you've let go of it so quickly. One very closely to you, they don't seem to be making an approach. They've lost a lot of gadgets in the process, and with these 50 seconds, we're just hoping that SilentFamily can actually continue through. Oh, one's on this right, could be taking out the Monty. He's not careful enough, but the swings aren't coming out just yet. Those are going to be the flashes, the frags ready to be amped, and in the meanwhile, heads are popping out. Yet again, crouching distance is nice, and Timu, he finds one just past Monty. In the meanwhile, you got to watch your right, and your 6 as Jugo, he's going to be pulling that P90. The magazine size is purely enough as he finds one, a second, a third, a fourth, all going into the favor of SilentFamily as they are going to be having a flawless round into number 9, and with it, finally bringing it back. 5-4, we're only one behind. Get us this second, and we will be more than satisfied.
Yeah, but we are going to see the couple of players left, as we are going to have another timeout for a protest. We'll bring details of that as we get a little bit more information on that. But yeah, we are going to be having a rehost on that round, and I do wonder if this is going to have the same impact as it had
no.
last game on Chalet. On map 2, obviously, round 5 was replayed as a result of a mute elite jammer, which is not an allowed skin. And we'll bring updates on what happens here. But it does look like round 8 is going to be expunged from the record. And once again, it was a round that SilentFamily won.
This is impossible. How do we have this happen for 2 times in both maps? I mean, SilentFamily, they win this out. They won it so nicely. We saw how well controlled they were. They weren't swinging unnecessary things. They weren't over like how would I say this? Like being very unnecessary at times, you know, trying to be really out there, too aggressive, get clips, whatever the case ends up being. They were sit back. They were waiting for the opportunity to strike, and they actually claimed it. But unfortunately, they were rocking yet another skin that is getting protested right now, and of course considered to be illegal in a situation. Well, not illegal, just not allowed in a competition such as. So hopefully, I mean, hopefully this doesn't affect the round. Hopefully, it still goes 4-5 in their favor. And in the meanwhile, hopefully they can bring it out, equalize it out, and with it claim that possibility of maybe even taking Consulate for themselves, continuing on that streak to the fourth and fifth map. But yet again, if this is going to be another situation such as Chalet, and we also don't see any tactical timeouts the second it gets to match point, I'm just going to be questioning what do they have to pull through at this point anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they've been fighting really hard.
Yeah.
I think they've brought this map back in a way that I don't think either of us maybe expected them to. And they're pulling rounds back. They're not doing it at a rate which would lead to a map win, but they're doing it, and they are showing that they do have the fight to take MVG the distance. It is going to be a rehost with the round replayed. That's going to be for an illegal bandit gadget skin. I mean, like I said, it's one of those things where you can argue the semantics, but an illegal skin is an illegal skin is an illegal skin. It's unfortunate, but it kind of just is what it is. Yeah, we are going to see round 9 get replayed for that once again. A round that SilentFamily won, that they took away from MVG, is going to be what's replayed, and it's hard to see, isn't it? It really is, because they've started to build up this head of steam. They've started to build up such a run of form that I think momentum is absolutely key in Siege, and I don't know if it remains to be seen whether they'll be able to maintain it. They couldn't overrun Clubhouse, Bob.
I really love seeing how SilentFamily yet again start putting up a house together brick by brick, but one brick seems to be out of order, and it all can fall apart just like this. Now, hopefully, they're going to be able to just, bring it back. That one round being a bit of a fluke. Maybe just, we can still finalize the thought on this downstairs, repeat what we did right, and of course, make sure that anything that should have gone wrong doesn't happen in this round. Yet again, we can play to our strengths. We have been doing that, and those are the rounds that we won. Just make sure to fill in those tiny gaps and make sure that MVG don't expose you for them, and make sure to work off of them as well. In the meanwhile, though, as we're waiting for this rehost, I'm just wondering, yet again, there's so many questions, so many times that I want to see myself rooting on SilentFamily, because they really have been showing potential, but at the same time, they haven't been really putting it to work.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
It is.
Again, I say, on their day, they'll take any team. They'll take them to distance. They'll beat them. They're an incredibly good team when they gel. It's just, I think the issue is the consistency, where they're really struggling to string a number of rounds together. And I think they can go. I think they've got maybe the best maps, individual maps, but the time between those maps is few and far between, right? Where their periods of absolutely fantastic gameplay is interspersed with these games where they make these mistakes. They make these mistakes of overswinging. They make these mistakes of re-peaking, or swinging a door that's already been swung. And there's the old adage of swing or be swung. There is that. And it makes for some exciting gameplay when it works, but when it doesn't, it does make you look a little bit foolish. And I think SilentFamily, they're anything but fools. They've shown that they can compete at this level. It's just it's incredibly difficult to see them conceding the rounds that they are in the manner in which they are.
It's unfortunate, but I think SilentFamily, I think we all hope that SilentFamily will be able to pull it all together. But of course, as this rehost is happening still in the background, we don't want to have your ears completely filled with our voices till the very end. So we'll be not only giving these players a break, also ourselves and you, the viewers, enjoyers, and enthusiasts of Rainbow Six Siege, as we'll be back in a short moment as soon as all things are resolved. There we are. Finally took us a bit, but we said as soon as it's here, we will be too. And well, Delta, we're back to this 5v3 or 5-2-3. And you talked about deja vu earlier. We're having a second bout with it.
Yeah, deja vu earlier, deja vu this time with the rehost. But we're back, we're getting back into it, and I think the thing for me is to watch out for is Silent Family. They won the rehosted one. They won the one that was expunged from the records. Can they carry that mentality forward? Hugo had a huge round on the expunged round in Clubhouse. They didn't carry that mentality forwards. And that's kind of where Clubhouse started falling apart for them. It was at that point where they started hemorrhaging their rounds and lost 3 on the bounce after that point. So I do wonder if their mentality is now, okay, can we actually bounce back from that and do the same thing again? Because we've won the round, it's been taken from us, let's go win it again. And I think, they're going to be feeling a little bit hard done by, I imagine, the person who had the illegal skin. They've all got to bounce back from it. They did win the round, but it's one of those scenarios where it's like, okay, actually, let's just go and take what's ours. We're going to see that they haven't spotted the drone. So Glocker is drone. They know exactly where one of their characters is, one of their doppelgangers, but not where the other one is. So they're still going to be walking around, and they've got a rough idea as Glocker moves away.
Similar strategy, similar lineup. We see that Monty in the demos as well, looking to go for the single wall down right into servers. A SilentFamily. The lineup doesn't seem to be as similar this time around. We do see that Scopos, that Solos, that Goyo to shut down the shield operator, really showing that they're not too big of a fan of it. Having some trouble to enter in though. The demos, come on, clear out those little pieces of shrapnel right around. He finally gets it through, and Hattie, he's quick on his feet. He doesn't need any drones. He's going to be head checking every single corner as SilentFamily right now on this defense, also having a bit more of a yellow-sided focus defense as they're not going to be contesting server too much. Yet again, it could be a similar way of working your way and just waiting for MolotovGang to slowly work their way up to you, and then that's where you really shut them down, turn them off, and have the remote in your control, your hand, and of course, your position to play with. The scope was from above, though, Glocka. This is dangerous. I don't think they even scouted the top floor. This could be a big play, a big silver lining for SilentFamily to take this round that they lost due to a bit of a difficulty on the skin. Bandit trigger on this Thermite, really not liking him. And at the same time, we don't have any direct denial.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't see I didn't see the need in them taking a minute to open up a soft wall, so they've wasted a lot of time there, MolotovGang. They're only now starting to push into positions where they can apply pressure to these defenders. They've got to take 5 out, and now we've passed that minute mark. Every second that ticks away makes that clock a 6th defender. Everyone's still on the board. SilentFamily, they need to win this. I think if they lose this, that's the momentum gone, and they're 1 round away from losing the game. So this is where it all happens. Hasi getting caught out in a Goyo. SilentFamily doing very well to just hold their position and the delay. They won't be able to get past that until around the 22nd mark. Glocker gonna pick up the first over onto Goldies.
We hear the crowd cheering SilentFamily on right now. They find the crack in the armor, and Justice taking such heavy damage. One more bullet, one piece of flame is enough to set it off. And MolotovGang really troubled, having Hachi so low. But Timu going in for swings. He finds Aine. He's going up from the behind, but there's Monty. He gets completely stopped in his tracks. A second one from Glocka. Timu as well, and it's a flawless nonetheless. My goodness, even when we go for that rehost, a second attempt to the round, there's going to be absolutely no drastic change for MVG, keeping it the same similar fashion. SilentFamily take it and get that 5-4 absolutely dominantly and flawless. Let me tell you, that is just the icing on the cake.
I had to stop myself from screaming then. I really did. I had to stop myself from screaming then because that was fantastic. What a response. What a response from SilentFamily. You won the round. It was removed for a rehost, for a skin violation. So you go back to it. You really struggled with this in Clubhouse, but this time here, what you did is you bounced back with an absolutely flawless round. You saw every mistake that MVG made and you punish them for it, and that is absolutely fantastic. That is the kind of mentality that they need to take through if they're going to take up this map and they're going to remain in the grand final. They're still behind. They're still 5-4 down, but they've now taken a round where maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe the mentality was working against them, but they've taken it, and now they can go forwards and they can start pushing on and really galvanizing against MVG, who maybe themselves lost a little bit of the mental strength as they called that rehost.
SilentFamily finally having MolotovGang on a bit of a budget with how many rounds they can be very, I would say, aggressive on, because they served them on a platter for a second time. Even if they get that rehost through, even if they lose that round due to their own mistakes on the side of legality of skins, they're gonna get it right back. And oh, it ran out. It's attempted. A Pokeball. Does it find? Oh, it could possibly. No, just won't be in the range for it. But what matters here is that amount of damage and breaking it forth. The C4, such explosiveness from SilentFamily. They cannot be shut down. As he's taken off. That's gonna be a Nomad. And of course, the second best when it comes to util denial, just completely shut down HP-wise. He's going to have to sit back and have to be really cautious of where he puts those feet up and where he steps into, because any type of damage is going to be enough to finish him out. Yet again, those floor drones are so strong. You have the Goyos, the shields, echoes, of course, Maestro cameras, electricity. Everything can be denied by him as long as it's not within the range of a Mew Jammer. And MolotovGang, you almost lost him out. We didn't almost lose out, but actually had it confirmed was that Nomad now 6 foot under.
Yeah, really strong start to the round coming out from the defense. SilentFamily doing really well, denying the drones, denying the intel. Everything's kind of going their way. Every member still on the board. This is the team that we needed to see for the whole game, but they've rocked up and in a serious way. They're going to start losing utility to those Flores drones, but that's okay. We're halfway through, and Glocker, instead of taking out drones, they're going to click on heads as well as they take the Ryox off the game. That's Twitch. That's another set of operators, another set of drones gone. No more intel for you. Thank you very much.
Glocker right beneath the nose of MVG's players right now as he's right at their doorstep, knocking quite heavily, knocking down one. A second one almost to be found, but just wasn't certified. Swinging out against SilentFamily, don't lose it. Do not lose it. Play close, that shotgun he's holding. Be very patient. Yet again, it's been a key, but no way, he finds him cautiously, punishing Flipper for that play. Down onto one, that's going to be Aine. It's a technical 4v2 or 4 to consider it. My bad, SilentFamily. I'll stick to this 3v1. Swinging out again. Though you're peeking your head, pocketing it like a balloon, playing too aggressively right now, as SilentFamily are still reaping off of their own benefits, getting those downs and keeping that advantage. Pistol better reload, as of course Goldie is going into this gunfight, especially up close, especially with this information, is going to be very dangerous. Looking to convert it into a 1v1 because that's where Goldie strives. 25 seconds are what's left to do it, but they're hiding behind reinforcements. You have a plan to go off of, but keep in mind, what is Timu rocking right now? It's that Echo drone ready to deny it. Also the Maestro camera there to keep you in control. Make sure to remind you of where you are. But Goldie, he finds a headshot onto Timu. And Glaku being the magnum opus of none other than SilentFamily this round around, finding himself the third kill, although very hasty. I was beginning to worry the second it was a 1v1 that somehow Goldie was going to get a flick onto the final player. Whatever, it matters not. It's 5 to 5. And this round is so important, Delta, because whoever wins this round has the opportunity of finishing it within regulation.
Man, there's where my loyalties lie. Oh, what a round. What a round to take for SilentFamily as they've come right back and they've leveled it up once again. 3-3 at the split. They went 5-3 down and they've brought us right back to 5-5 in a very comprehensive manner. And oh my word, I am so excited now because we're in for an absolutely rip-roaring end to Consulate. Both teams, they could still end it in regulation, as you say. All it takes is 2 rounds back-to-back. But if we don't get that, then we're going to go to maximum OT. MolotovGang very wisely, knowing that they can take not just a map, they can take the full series on this map in the next 6 minutes. So they're going to use their timeout. They're going to calm down a sec, just like we should probably calm down. They're going to think, right, how do we actually do this? How do we go ahead and take this map, make it our own? So they're going to calm it down. Can SilentFamily maintain this momentum they've built up? They're playing some really good Siege, something that you would not have said coming off the back of Chalet. They're playing some really good Siege, they're backing each other up, they're defending in depth, they're collapsing in when they need to, and they're pushing these attackers all the way, and they're engineering themselves for success in post-plant scenarios. We've seen a couple of attempts at it so far. We've seen 3 wins in a post-plant scenario so far on this map, and it's they've toggled. They've toggled their mindset, they've toggled their mentality, they've toggled in their strategies, and they're absolutely on top of it now. They're not going to go down without a fight, Bob.
They definitely are. They're putting up one themselves. And MVG, although I love how their strategy really resolves around this free real estate they gain by just simply entering admin, they seem to be stuck at it. We saw so many rounds where they go into admin, they try to push up, but they're stuck. C4s from below, and none other. The good old Glocka come to swing around corners, not only from middle floor, but also bringing it all the way up to the top. SilentFamily have secured themselves a final possibility. This is finally what we've been waiting for, and right now we're looking for maybe more chain rounds. A second one in a row, SilentFamily. Maybe even a third. Actually, this is going to be the third round in a row. Let's get it. Let's have it for ourselves. Why not? It's possible. It's in the chance of opportunities, and odds are looking in your favor. Information going to be really working out with Goldies as he makes his way up to yellow stairs. Players very close. Do we want to risk it? Yet again, the pulse from below is going to be a bane to anyone trying to approach him, and anyone going for that verticality, or maybe even from below. Whatever those SilentFamily still sticking to the rules, and that's going to be the shotgun up close. Flipper onto Goldies' case, and looking to find another. There's one above pushing you, and he does not claim it as Variox brings the refrag about.
But still, that's good play, taking Goldie's off the board. Goldie's been an absolutely essential part of this MVG roster. All of them can play fantastically well. All of them can frag out, but Goldie has kind of been the one fueling the engine going forward today. They're going to start opening up the vert. Flipper doing well to delay that time, so they're only doing it at around the 1.5-minute mark coming up to. So they're hitting their targets, but they're taking losses, both in HP and in players. SilentFamily, they're going to start collapsing in a little bit. They don't need to push just yet. They can still wait for MolotovGang to try and execute onto them, and they can hold their positions, as they've done very well so far this second half.
SilentFamily could be dead to rights. Any damage, 2 players are off the board. MolotovGang right now just barely sticking to their lives by the skin of their teeth. Now it seems like SilentFamily stealing the stars from their eyes, trying to have about 3 more picks to have it down to this 4v1. Although MVG stuttering over their own words, flashed about trying to push, but we have no information. Although they have plenty Legion crews about, maybe not the best placement, but it's enough to distract. Any swing could be approaching. SilentFamily aren't playing to site itself, which is really interesting to see. They're taking a direct, far more approach. At the same time, they could be having an opportunity for retake. We're going to have to see. It's not very common to see a retake in Siege, but you know, it's SilentFamily. They have been anything but common. They have been rare, and they have been really showing off that their unprecedency can be strong. Swings out, not finding. Are we going to challenge? Glocka, he realizes what position he's in, but also just finding one. The plant is going down. This is the time for SilentFamily to step up. Verticalities and theirs, so 10 seconds remaining. Are we going to shut it down? That's going to be one from Jugo onto Variox. 3v3, but we have 7 seconds remaining, as that's the second time that UMP45 makes its way onto the kill feed. Down onto Glocka. He jumped down a bit too early. The final 2 players really low, and just both with Aine, all they need is 1 bullet to land. The pulse is there, the information could be free real estate. It could be so strong, but as long as we have this defuse through, that's all that matters right now. A MolotovGang could finish it out as long as they play their cards right. Timu, he finds just, it's a 1v3. As long as the defuse comes through, we don't find it, and that's Jugo with the triple kill into round 11, finding the match point opportunity, and now having the chance to finally win out constantly at their first map. And finally, SilentFamily, I can say this, that this is your time to shine.
Wow, here we go. The first rounds are solved by a defuse so far in the game, and it's SilentFamily not just winning the round and taking us to map point, but also winning in such a way, retaking the site. When there's vertical holds, when all the advantages realistically, apart from the man advantage, are stacked in MVG's way, and it's looking more and more like they've built up a now insurmountable head of steam. They've now taken 3 rounds on the bounce. That's the first time they've done that in this match, and you're starting to get the feeling that SilentFamily This is their map pick, and now that decision is coming good. They're building up a real head of steam, and it's incredibly exciting to watch as they now will bring us down to basement. Basement, remember, this is where they won in round 9, off in the rehosted round, the one that was exposed, and in the one that was replayed. So they've won it both times, and they know how they play it. MolotovGang, they brought along a Monty. They struggled along to breach a soft wall last time they came here, and they were extremely slow in trying to push on and around. They need to speed it up. They're not going to bring the Monty along this time. They're going to bring a Blitz.
And that's what SilentFamily doesn't like. Nor Ying, nor Shield operators, specifically Clash, Monty, and even better, the Blitz. MolotovGang, now they're seemingly really reflecting on how they lost that out. SilentFamily, though, in the action of licking their wounds, as finally they're having that repair come through. Now it's round 12. Match point. Possibilities are endless. But SilentFamily only have a specific few, and those need to simmer down to that victory. Of course, we're talking about overtime possibilities for MVG. And yeah, I know Bozmax is right now having his ears stuck out the second he hears Bozmax OT. But in the meanwhile, pushing up forward towards that blitz. Oh, the pre-fire comes through, and Goldie's, he connects the headshot. But shortly after, it's a 1-for-1 deal. SilentFamily still looking at a disadvantage. You lost 2 players, but thankfully just is off the board. That's going to be limiting the verticality down to Variox, who is on that ram, and we do not have more than 1 C4 to deny it. Although losing that composure and at the same time having a bit of a deficit on the man count is going to be a bit dangerous.
Yeah, losing a couple of people. This isn't very good for SilentFamily. Not only because of the obvious implications, but also when they won this round previously, they retained the man advantage. Okay, they didn't commit people too soon. They've now lost both Marks and Glocker very, very early on. But we are seeing a Hugo reinvigorated, a Hugo that is fragging out to the extent that made me name him my man of the match when they played LDL. So they've now really woken up, they've galvanized, they've re-energized their spirit, and ultimately, then now this is going to be the key bit, Bob. This is going to be the bit where they open the breach, they're opening a number of different lines of sight over on family defense.
Hammering it down, so much time left. Molotov Gaming here putting up quite a fight. They didn't like the result of the previous round, and how SilentFamily have really been stepping up to the task. Now they're ready to pull a similar performance themselves to bring it unlimited OT. Oh, the Goyo canisters sticking all the way through are going to be a great way to shut down Goldie's attempt. All the flashes coming through, verticality playing against. Still not enough damage for the Sim to come through, but Timu sticks it anyways. Better that than too late or never, because the gadget is still there. 30 seconds remaining, smokes are out. This is going to be absolute chaos. Some damage. Of course, Aine still outside with that thermite and that defuse. Varios, he finds one, a second one from Goldie, and it's double kills coming through SilentFamily. It's inevitable that you're going to be losing out on this. But oh, Jugo, he finds one. If he could have found that pre-fire through the smoke, would have been great. But an if situation is not one we can rely on, as it is going to be Delta, I'm afraid to say it, but unlimited OT.
Yeah, you maybe didn't hear me cheer too loud that time. Yeah, I'll wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very much back. I love an underdog story. You see, I love the whole David Mike versus Goliath kind of nature of when you get into situations like this. But yeah, last chance saloon for SilentFamily. They could have put the map to bed. They didn't, and so now we're going to go into. Let's remind you, max OT. So just to remind you on that is, it means that one team needs to get more than one round ahead of the other for the game to end, for the map to go their way. There's no limit on how many maps can be played, hence unlimited OT. So here we go. Unlimited OT, grand final. If MolotovGang win, they take the series, they take the championship. SilentFamily scrabbling, hoping that they can keep going and live on in the competition. They're going to take the top floor. They're going to have the defender side first. The defender side of the OT round first. We'll be flipping back go on. But this is interesting because they could take the 7-6 if they double down on what made them so strong in round 10.
Gotta double down on it. Also seeing that MVG really like to be considerate of what SilentFamily like and not. Last time it was the Blizz, this time around is going to be the Ying. Really want to remove that visibility and vision from the side of SF and their defense of how they want to approach it. As long as that Ying makes it to end game, it's going to be quite difficult to play against. Oh, you reveal yourself, but just he finds the shot. The last second he could have. One more bullet it would have done. And that's that fire rate. If it could have worked out for Mercs just a tiny bit more, it would have been great. But Glocka there finalizing the shot, even with that sliver of HP. One more bullet was needed, and he was the one to put it right in. Overtime is here. Yet again, a 2-round difference needed for anyone, and it could be anyone's game, as we do have a trade very early on. Maestro losing control over the cameras isn't going to be the best, especially going into that execute with the Ying, because the Maestro cameras, they don't get flashed. They can just zap you through and through, deny that plant, and in the meanwhile, oh, hey, he's going in. We don't have anything, trying to bait out some C4s, and I think it's going to be working out for one. Could it work out for a second? No matter, Jab's popping out, and in the meanwhile, SilentFamily still playing against MVG, who are just playing with their food.
Yeah, I was convinced we were going to see an Ina rush there, but with the fuser in hand, they're playing it a little bit cautious. They know that this is going to be some absolutely key rounds. Variox knows it too, as they're going to take Glocka off the field. Impact player, they'll take a second. No! SilentFamily, they repeat the same angle once again as Flipper falls in the same spot where Glocka fell. Taking us down to a 4v2. Variox picks up the triple, makes it a 3v1. All of the utilities out on the field, they can push through, but they do not have diffuser in hand. But now Goldies, they'll pick it up, they'll start planting, cementing that advantage they got, and it's down to Hugo. Hugo, the hero from the LDL game last week. The diffuser is planted. They've got 45 seconds to try and make a difference, but they can't. 7-6 MVG. And match, map, series, championship point MVG.
A choke point too for SilentFamily. Now on the attack and just trying to find anything. It's either they win this round and have that be another lifeline opportunity, or MolotovGang sitting comfortably on that defense, play it all correctly according to plan, and have a flawless 3-0 in a best-of-5 series. This is where we come down to that potential of, do we see this be the final round of today of the grand final ESA season number 9, or will SilentFamily back it up for just one more and a following 2 to have it go their way? Yet again, this is not a map where SilentFamily can afford to lose. Literally. I mean, they either lose out on this and then just lose in general, or if they win out, then they need 2 more in a row to find that victory. So much on the line. MolotovGang not being able to play the Blitz nor Ying anymore, so that's going to be a bit less of annoyance for SilentFamily to stick with, although the information's still going to be quite high, especially looking at Goldies not only rocking the headshot machine known as the MPX, but at the same time, those Valkyrie Black Eyes are as deadly as information gathering tends to be. SilentFamily would look at their lineup, yet again, still sticking to that verticality is going to be key, especially when you go for that post-plant. In the meanwhile, though, Striker Grim really hoping they don't get taken out as the first 2 picks of MolotovGang.
Yeah, they're going to have Goldies. They've deployed all their Black Eyes. Now they can just run around. They can roam, and we know Goldies can frag. They're going to be looking to defend in depth here, hold the entire top floor and collapse in. First from the computers in that IT area, then westwards towards the hallway, and then they'll collapse back into sight. So it's going to be a bit of a slog. It's going to be a bit of a marathon for SilentFamily here as they try to push. They're going to have to deal with traps, intel, and all the rest of the good stuff that Molotov have put in their way. But we know that they can do it. They've got the momentum that they're carrying forward from a very, very good map that they've bounced back from in a very big way. Glocka, they'll start entering the building, and we'll get into the good nitty-gritty stuff here.
Nicely spotting out those frost mats. And again, MVG strategies to play it simply. Go by the book and shut down SilentFamily with any opening they leave out for them to execute. Grim's coming out. Gotta watch out for any pre-placed C4s. We do have 1 C4 on Just, and he is holding it in his hands as of current, so be very careful when going up against him. The C4, the 5 pounds of C4, explosive, does land, doesn't connect any shots, and of course, admin gets taken over as we have to set our eyes onto Glocka, who does claim the prize of Vario's head, and in the meanwhile, that's also the Warden. Flash is going to be a bit more in play as you don't have many on your hand, but at the same time, that buck could be proving useful, and no, it's going to be the Frost Trap. Hopefully not being able to finalize it through, though. One swinging up, and it's going to be none other than Ine putting down that Frost and also making sure that he's going to be putting down Mercs in the process.
Yeah, critical there that they dropped the diffuser. As the repeat came through, they didn't also then pick up the diffuser. Hugo, they refrag, they don't pick the diffuser up. That's still down at the top of yellow stairs, and they're going to start conceding kills left and right. Hassi picks off Glocker as they take it down to the 2v1. Hugo, all they can do now is frag out diffuser in hand, but it's not going to be enough as they go down, and MVG take the map, they take the series, they take the championship.
It is it. Backed up against the wall, there was nothing that SilentFamily could do to prevent an 8-6. It was a close match, the closest we've had up until today, but in the end, it goes a similar path, and that is victory for MVG, winning ESA season number 9. And with it, I mean, this has been a fantastic map. I was really hoping for SilentFamily to keep it up for an extra bit, but Delta, I think it has been a great time casting this, as in the meanwhile, we're going to be handing whatever is left off to our lovely, and I mean really lovely, host and 2 analysts to break it down for you and tell you the whys, hows, and how we're going to proceed with the interview. So stay around and stay tuned because it's about to get even more exciting.
All right, Santa checked his list. He checked it twice. Turns out all MVG wanted for Christmas was an ESA champion. Crown them kings. To the victor go the spoils. Congrats and GG to MVG. Run. Oh, what fun it is to see a Siege round 1 with speed. What was it about speed that brought MVG jingling it all the way to victory, my friend?
We talked about at the start of this match that it looked very, very good for MVG going into this. We know both of the teams liked and favored Consulate as the map, but MVG just had everything going their way. They played very aggressively on attack and played it very aggressively on defense and really shut down anything that SilentFamily was trying to get started. We saw at least them get a few extra rounds there, but playing great utility, playing the shields in the end. They took every advantage they could over SilentFamily to shut them down, and it was the shortest grand final there, I think, in ESA history.
Sheesh. And it was over quick. Mighty. Deck the halls with the same old strategy? Was it sending multiple bodies to the same spot to die or running the same strat that had our SilentFamily having a silent night?
I definitely have to say it's unfortunate as it is, but SilentFamily had the lags on multiple ends. Also, map number 3, they made it a little bit more equal this map than they had done the previous 2 maps that we saw privately, but it wasn't enough. As we mentioned, MVG's always up for a fight. They're always up to find these readjustments when they so desperately need to find those. And I would say the pace that they do it in is just not bearable for SilentFamily to just act upon those occasions in that way. SilentFamily just had to take the fall, unfortunately, against Molotov. It's about the basics of Siege that maybe cost them in their sake, but I'm definitely saying, in my confidence of my opinion, I'm saying it's pretty much all the basics that maybe were lacking here and there that cost them all these 3 maps.
Okay. Okay. Well, a great sum up for sure. We do get to talk to the winners here and get to the answers at the bottom here. So we're going to do a quick little interview and figure out what was exactly going on for that 3-0. Okay, what's up? GG's. What a great game. How you feeling? Oh, I do not hear him.
Should I already hear someone? Max? Because I see it on stream that he's already talking to me, but I'm not here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep. Hello, everybody.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Right on. GG's. That was a great game. How you feeling after that best of 3?
I'm very, very happy right now. Like, it worked perfectly out how we thought it's gonna be a very, very hard fight, and the maps, especially the last map, was also very, very close. But now I'm very happy that we made it.
Yeah, you did it. So we're going to ask you a couple questions about the maps here. Map number 1, right? It starts out on that 3-3 half on Clubhouse, the great equalizer for the map. What's the conversation to the team when you guys are tied up going into the split?
Yeah, I mean, it started already in the map ban when we saw them picking club, even though we won against them 7-1, I believe, in the upper bracket final. So we were very confused, and we were sure they analyzed us probably and had like things against us on this map now. And yeah, then it came to the operator bans, and after the bans, they banned like Jekyll and Clash, which we play like basically 80% of the rounds on Clubhouse. So we need to
Sure.
we knew it's got to be a different game than the upper bracket final, and we need to switch things up. Yeah, but then after the 3-3, we took it. I think it was fine for us to have the 3-3 split, and yeah, in defense, we came up with good ideas as well, because we knew they're always going over a CC side and then Logi execute. So sometimes we reinforce the walls there as well with Bandit, or then played aggressive against it. So we could adapt very quickly.
Yeah, and it obviously worked out in your favor. Map 2, dominant, right? It was very in your face. You guys walked in, found the biggest player, punched him straight in the face. Is that like a specific game style that you guys have? Is that the vibe of MVG, or was that specifically geared towards this Silent Family team?
Yeah, I think Chalet suits us very good. How the map is structured, and with the fast entry points, and it was very good that they picked club for us, because that were the only way we could play Chalet as well, and we knew they always ban Chalet and Leia. So yeah, we took that right away, and we never played against each other on Chalet, so they had no clue what we are doing. And then they were a bit surprised, I think, about how our tempo and how we attacked the different bomb sites.
Yeah, you guys had like that. I'm sure you've played it before, the strat roulette. It seemed like you guys just opened everything up, held the cross, and then put them into just kept pinching them down smaller and smaller. At what point on map number 3 did you know that you sealed the deal, that you guys were winning it? Was it all the way to the very end point, or was there a point in map 3 where you knew you had it?
Mm, we started good, but we knew it's always hard against them on Consolate. They always manage. And then we had like the 5-3 when we rehosted, and yeah, they managed to win the round again on Garage, because we had like a lineup. It wasn't even possible for us to win. We couldn't clear the bandit gadget. It was misplayed by us. And then we took a timeout at 5-5, and I think the timeout was very good. It helped us a lot, and then we managed to come back and learn from our mistakes we did in the previous rounds.
Okay, 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna let you go celebrate with the team. First question is, and this is kind of something I love to ask in every single interview I do. It's in honor of my caster friend Rhino. He always asked, if you could ban an operator forever, goodbye, never gonna be played in Siege again, who do you take out?
Oh wow. Oh, that's a tough question.
It is.
Me personally, I think I would ban Dokkaebi,
Oh, I
because
love that
this
pick.
if someone is confident on this weapon, it's so hard to kill him. It's just about the weapon for me personally. And yeah, if someone is swinging with it and is good on it, he will make like double digits every game.
Yeah, the devastation from a distance of the DMR. I love that answer. I'd say probably the same. Hey, anything that you'd want to say here to anybody that's still watching?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my team. I'm very proud that we made it that far. I think you all talked about it at the beginning of the stream. We weren't even qualified for ESA this season, because we ended up quitting our teams at the last qualifying weekend, and made a new team by ourselves. And then we had not enough points to qualify. But luckily, one team dropped out, and we could get the place. And then we had a great run. We had a lot of tough opponents in Swiss stage. We played only against the best teams, and I'm very proud to play in this team, and I'm very happy for for this win.
It was an absolute honor and a blast to watch you play in what is the quickest grand final for ESA, I believe, that we've seen. Thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us. It was truly a pleasure.
No worries. I appreciate it. Thanks for the
Absolutely.
production.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we're going to talk about it a little bit more, get a few final thoughts here because holy moly, run. It's our 26th grand final together, 442 maps. And this might have been one of the quickest grand finals that me and you have ever seen.
That's right. You said it. We've done 26 grand finals together in 2024, and very few actually go the 3-0. Was so one-sided. And it wasn't just one-sided in the map wins, but it was definitely one-sided throughout the entire maps as well, right? A 7-1 victory on Chalet. SilentFamily sort of played into what MVG wanted by picking Club to start off with, allowing them a map that they were planning on picking and enabled them to play Chalet as the second map, which they hadn't played. We know we heard about that in the interview. I mean, this was just well played by MVG across the board. And SilentFamily's got some stuff to work on. They made it here. They had an incredible run, but really, this MVG team was their true Achilles heel.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mighty, if you were to give some final thoughts and wrap up here, what could be some win conditions? What could be some of those push points that Silent Family would be able to bring coming next season?
Things that SilentFamily definitely should take a hold of is they are very mechanically gifted players. They need just to figure out the ways of pushing their opponents into these circumstances where they can swing them out with the right amount of intel. Now, today, they had to play against MVG, and very often when they did commit into these swings, they didn't have the right amount of intel on which angle is the opponent's on. Is he to the left or to the right from the breach, costing them, for example, here on Consulate in the very 7th round, it cost them 2 players. Then in the 3rd attempt, you get the ace kill out. So you get an ace kill, but you lose 2 of your teammates. That shouldn't be the case. You need to get your intel right in place. Then you can swing about. You got to make these circumstances work it out for you, not working for the opponent if you shall do these things. Another big thing is you got to work the clock more. You got to go back to the drawing board and figure out ways how you can enter the building without losing casualties in your own team and build up with a lot of pace, with a lot of pressure, and make some tense scenarios happen to your opponent. That way you can play a little more freely on yourself, also have the right amount of time to just think a little more freely about these important decisions for the late round and not have it going this way as it went today. Very often, because they lost so much time, they just had to go past on very good occasions and also opportunities that could have costed, granted them a lot of open gainers and also would have costed MVG dearly. If so, the SilentFamily would have had the time to think about these opportunities and possibilities. That wasn't the case. So there are like multiple things, and it's only these standard things about Siege that SilentFamily should look into. They'd have these threats, they have the teammates, they have the players to do it. Mechanically, they're also gifted enough to do these takes and do these strats. There's just a little bit more of that fine adjustments that they need to look into to be back next season.
Okay, there you go. A couple of things to take back to the drawing board, folks. We have done it. We have come to the end of season 9. The grand finals are over. The champions have been crowned, and it was thrilling gameplay on map number 2. It was a back and forth on map number 3, and it delivered everything that we could have hoped and wanted here for season 9. ESA. So congratulations to our champions for the incredible performance, and a big thank you to the staff, production, all the observers, everybody, all the casters that were here during the season, and the analysts, everything that everybody brought together to make this season 9 such a great success. It's been an absolute joy. May your season be filled with it, in fact. But we have come to the dreaded part of the evening where we must, alas,